I'm vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 110 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and folks, season 3 is in the books for Titans. Did they do it to us again? That's a question we're going to answer tonight. That, amongst other things, we got Stargirl to cover, we got Doom Patrol to cover. We're going to talk about the new movie Dune, or the reboot of Dune. But before we do all that, we do have a special guest with us this evening to discuss a new comic book. He is a contributor to the Spoiler Country podcast, the editor of the Comic Jam, and one of the authors of Bigfoot Knows Karate. Joining us this evening, Casey Allen. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Doing fantastic, man. You'd reached out to us about this comic book you were creating, and gave us a link to what you had. So talk to us about your comic book here, Bigfoot Knows Karate. Just give us an intro to everything going on.
Okay, so basically, we really wanted to. Comics does not have a Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, like nothing analogous to that, and there's like a void of comics dealing with that type of stuff, like that coming of age story. So basically, we wanted to write a comic where a giant fucking Bigfoot fights a giant fucking Kung Fu Thulu. And then it would be like that, except not at all. So that is where we're coming from. We wanted to do a punch 'em up. We wanted to have a fun time with it. And one fun thing about the title is Bigfoot Knows Karate. It sounds like something you would like. Oh, okay. I don't know what that's about. Well, but there's a little bit more story to it. We have 5 issues planned. What we want to do is we kind of want to subvert expectations. Bigfoot does know karate. He's going to be using karate. He's going to be fighting a lot. There's going to be a ton of blood. There's going to be a ton of action. But also we want to serve you with a good story. This project is something I came on. It had been kind of bouncing around in my my co-author's head for a while. He's also the artist on the book. He kept doodling this Bigfoot guy and kept posting on Instagram. And I said, why aren't you doing anything with this character? This character looks cool. He was like, well, I have some ideas. There's something happening. And finally, I was like, when you are ready to do it, when you're ready to put this out in the world, let me know. I'll edit. I'll do whatever I can to help you out because it's such a compelling character. And by that time, he'd already starting to get fan art, like people drawing his character and send it to him on Instagram. It was really fun. So he came up to me one day and said, "Hey, I have an idea. I know what I want to do with it." He was initially going to do like a comedy type comic with it. Because that's where he comes from. So Dan Price, my co-writer on this and creator of the Bigfoot Knows Karate thing, he came from the world of comedy comics, and I mostly do horror stuff. So he had this idea, and I kept kind of throwing out like, hey, if you're going to do that, why don't you consider doing this? Why don't you, maybe have a character that he can fight who's also a cryptid, maybe a Kung Fu Thulu? And he went, what? And like 20 minutes later, I get a message from him, and he's like, this is what I want. This is your Kung Fu Thulu. And he sent me the sketch of what ends up being the main villain, that guy right there, Kung Fu Thulu, the main villain in book 1. And he's so fun to write. Kung Fu Thulu is kind of like the Macho Man Randy Savage, like that type of attitude. Also,
you get that vibe looking at him, kind of.
Oh yeah. He's a badass and he knows it.
Yeah.
And the few times that I've been able to kind of sneak something like funny into it, into the comic, into the dialogue, was via Kung Fu Thulu. Um, so yeah, it's a whole lot of fun to write. I kept adding all of these ideas in the editing process, and finally Dan was like, "Why don't you actually step up and be co-writer on this with me?" So
Right.
that's how I ended up being, a de facto writer on the piece. And man, we've got this thing mapped out, and it's going to be a roller coaster. We have a lot of craziness coming up, and another thing we didn't want to do is we didn't want to make it so that every character has to, like, every cryptid character has to have like a martial art trait or whatever. So we didn't want to have, like, Shaolin master of, the Loch Ness monster or something. We didn't want to be like silly like that. But we are going to have other cryptids in there, and they're going to take a big part in the story, because the overarching story is, I don't want to give away that twist yet,
Right.
but it's going to be nuts. And if you like kind of conspiracy stuff, if you like revenge stories, then yeah, that's what you want to check it out. We're kind of thinking of this as like if Godzilla versus Kong met Kill Bill. So if you put those in a blender, then you would have a big
I'm
mess.
a fan of that combination.
Yeah.
So
I like that. I like that.
That's what we want.
Well, good deal, man. That's a good description of the comic, and you get a 7-page preview of it, or a little snippet of the story. And you know what, Ross, I'm so sorry. I was so excited to get in the show, I completely forgot to even announce you here. My homeboy Ross, the Iceman, joining us.
The strong,
Ross,
silent type.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
You check this out too, man. Give me some thoughts. Of initial thoughts of this comic, or what
As soon as I got the link to it, was checking it out. I mean, the artwork is fantastic. Every little picture that you can go through on the website, you're just sitting there and you're transfixed and you're picking it apart. When you pick something like that apart, it really gives you that sense of like you're already kind of glued to it. You're already hooked, just because you're looking for every last little itty bitty detail. And I mean, you guys have definitely nailed something with all of the images and everything else that you've put up so far, just for the freebies. Reading the little snippet of the story was, I mean, it takes you and sets you off in a nice little place. And the next thing you know, you go from peaceful to essentially trying to save nature to a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns that fast in 7 pages. And I mean, that's what you want. You want, like some of the other things that we're going to discuss tonight, some things take a minute. This right here in 7 pages turned it around. And you're like, okay, let's go ahead and see what the rest of this is about. I mean, I'm a fan. I mean, I never even thought about crossing these two or multiple ideas together and seeing Bigfoot do karate. I mean, why would you not want a Bigfoot to do a high kick? So,
oh man, yeah. And we've had a lot of fun with like just kind of going back and looking at like old martial arts films and stuff like that to kind of get into the head of that perspective. And Dan has been reading a lot of like Buddhist philosophy and stuff like that. You guys are clicking through a lot of the fan art, which there's some banger pieces on there. Really somebody, Dennis Valencia did the Samurai Jack piece that you just went through, and I've never seen that show, but people kept kind of saying that the art style is similar. And so Dennis Valencia kind of made it happen in a mashup. And I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, we've gotten so much support from people in the Instagram community, which I had no idea that Instagram could be like, was such a solid community.
Positive place.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in like the hellscape of Twitter. You go onto Instagram and people are just like, hey, I really like this picture.
Right.
So I always just looked at it to go like, oh, that person from high school got fat. they had, here's my kids, like that's basically like it. And
Make me feel better about myself.
exactly, yeah.
That's social media's
So-
for, right? Exactly.
Exactly. That and like reality shows, like, but no, I've really had a great time kind of getting to know the comics community via Instagram. And man, so many people have been just championing this book and are jazzed about what we're doing. So when we started the campaign for the Kickstarter, we had a like a Kickstarter kickoff party. And in 7 minutes, we completely met our goal on the Kickstarter.
Wow.
Which, like, I'm not bragging. That's just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, they want to see this book. So now, like, the heat is on. We got to make sure this thing is good. And on the you're going through the fan art on the deluxe edition of the book, which is actually going to have a piece that started out as fan art as the cover. The piece was so good, we were like, shit, we need to just buy this. And we made it the cover for the deluxe edition. And we're going to have a QR code in the back of it that kind of gives a kind of like a behind the music, but behind the comic interview of and breakdown of issue 1,
Right.
and kind of the culmination of the series. And also it's going to have a fan art gallery in the back. So I'm really excited about that because, man, I mean, just look at this. The Jerry Cooley piece right there is freaking fantastic. And Kamorian King, she has her own thing that is also like just a banger. And then she does this. So many talented artists are just, so just nuts about this comic, and also like so supportive.
It's fantastic. You guys have such a real grassroots movement pushing already.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, like, so Dan does the art and, knows all these people. And meanwhile, I'm just like writing dialogue while I'm on the toilet. So but everybody has their place.
Talent.
Everybody has their place. Exactly right. Team effort. No, this comic's very, very interesting to me. It's a 7-page snippet you give here on the website, which, I'll include the link to that in the show notes and everything. So everybody, we'll talk about it again before we're done with it, but everybody check it out. I'm drawn to Ninja Turtles, maybe because of the kung fu, maybe because of the different animal you wouldn't expect to be portrayed in this personification of this animal. Did I use that word correctly? I think I did. Just it draws me to that, and I think because the artwork in the comic is similar to, like, I don't know if you've read Batman and Turtles. The combo, the team.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the number 2, the Batman comic or Turtles 2, the second part of that series, the artwork looks very similar, so I'm drawn to it like that. I'm like, okay, the fact that it's Bigfoot Knows Kung Fu, the name of it draws me to it, so I'm immediately drawn to this comic. And then as I'm going through it, it turns for me with just one line, and or not, well, 2 little paragraphs, and as if nobody sees you, then how do you know you're really here? And that's when that point in the comic and this little snippet turns, and it's like, okay, it makes it interesting, gives me questions. And after just reading 7 pages of it, I'm like, okay, I want to know what happens next. What did this mean? What did this mean? Really, really well written, just from what I've seen so far. It's something I definitely love to check out. You said you have 5 issues.
5 issues planned, and you actually, okay. you're the snippet of dialogue that kind of hit you. That's actually going to kind of be a big part of the series, like identity and kind of agency, choosing your own path,
right?
And like as far as like the Ninja Turtles connection goes, like that, I was like average into Turtles as a kid. And Dan was into the Eastman and Laird stuff. He's a little bit older than I am. I think he's about 45. But I think we both kind of like just missed the Turtles train.
Right.
But
the Eastman and Laird stuff, that's the original stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
That's,
so
that's
he got the original
stuff.
for sure. But yeah, it's so fun kind of getting into that stuff. And there's, man, I can't wait for this to go out so I can actually talk about the big twist.
Right.
Because the snippet that you saw, believe it or not, like there's a lot of blood, a lot of craziness. That is right before the shit hits the fan, like right before it just goes nuts. And there's one thing that I was really proud of was there's a sequence right after that scene where he's just kind of trying to find his like base, like get into a solid place in his mind, and he's trying to meditate and just calm down. And there's a scene that just kind of foreshadows what's going to happen over the next few books. And it's I had a lot of fun with that. And if you're kind of paying attention as you read it, you're like, oh crap, that connected. So there's a lot of fun stuff that we have in store throughout the series that are going to, have its origins in book one.
Right.
So
this snippet from the 7 pages here, is that from the beginning of the first book?
Yeah, that's like the
That's
first
the
like
very,
literally
very
the first 7 pages. Yeah.
Okay.
And we kind of had to, because Dan has been so active with the Instagram community, we kind of had to, I was like, Dan, pump the brakes on showing off your work on Instagram, because that's the whole damn book. Mm-hmm. And so we once he got like past those 7 pages, when he would do live draws, he would do like a layer. He was like, I'm drawing trees today, just trees, don't mind. And then, of course, he'd like paste, the big, blood gushing eyeball on the next page, on top of it. Mm-hmm. But, and for all intents and purposes, he was drawing trees that day. So
that's what like I said, you definitely don't want to spoil the twist in it.
Oh no, not at all.
I'm interested to see what happens. Like you said, just where it leaves us after that 7 pages. You said this is the point where shit really starts to hit the fan. That's immediately into the first book, which is cool. Yeah. So it's like I don't need any background story with this going on. Like this is my Bigfoot that knows kung fu, and I'm gonna learn the story as I go. I'm interested to see where it continues from here. Because you gave us a taste of how gory it was going to be. And you said there's going to be lots of blood. So.
Yeah. And what one note that I kind of got from Dan, I said, hey man, is this too much? And his, immediate reaction was more gore. So I was like, all right, more gore it is. Yeah. So,
and it's not even that bad, to be honest with you. It's not, but well, I've only seen the first 7 pages. So hopefully, like
you just wait.
Based on your reaction, it's going to get better. I see. Not that it's bad at all, but yeah.
When I do scripts, I try to put like picture, like clip art and pictures, and if possible GIFs into the page. So when he's like doing his stuff on, illustrating it, he can kind of get a better idea of what I'm aiming for. And there's one GIF in particular. It was from a French experimental art film from like the 50s. And it was really just like it was like edgelord, over the top, crazy with the gore. And so we review stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I'll write at night before I go to bed. When I get home, I'll, get the kids settled. I have 2 kids. They're awesome. They're my life. Then I'll like walk the dogs. I have a bunch of woods around my property. I was walking through the woods. I had my phone out, and Dan was talking to me like, hey, I'm working on this page right here, blah, 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 blah. And I just hear him like, dang it, Casey. And then I just hear click, and then the GIF, the very bloody, gory GIF that I had pasted into the script was just like blooped out of existence because it was just too much for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Because like you said, with the reaction you just gave me and the way you described it beforehand, it's going to be a very, very fun read. with that. Ross, you got any comments you want to or questions you wanted to ask?
I'm gonna wait for the book 6, and we're just Harambe's Revenge is what you need to do.
Oh yeah. Oh man. So this arc. Let me just kind of restate things. Like this arc is five books, or 5 issues, and
this arc alone.
yeah, and we're gonna kind of give ourselves room if we want to keep going with it, we can. But like the initial idea was just 5 full issues, and man, we just kind of I keep writing, and like more stuff comes up,
Right.
and Dan's like, let's discover that. Okay, so yeah. So if we keep this party going, if people still want to be part of this, we have story for them.
Well, it sounds like you. I would say it sounds like you have a pretty good following right now.
Yeah. We're and like hopefully we can kind of keep it going and preach the word of the Bigfoot to everybody, because I mean we're having a lot of fun with it. And JB Wallace, that guy right there that did that piece, he's a fantastic artist and illustrator, and he actually does stuff with the Comic Jam, which I don't know if you guys have heard of the Comic Jam. We're an online comics workshop.
Okay.
And that's how I met Dan. So, but
online comics workshop. Just sorry, a little off topic. Would you be like? I'll talk with you actually after the show. How about that? I'll
that's fine.
Just about.
I mean, we can talk about it on the air if you want.
Sure. Just if for me personally, or anybody else who's out there interested in sending some artwork in, or just getting involved in something like that, how would one go about that?
Message us on. We're on the tweets. We're on the Instagram. Okay. So find us on Twitter or Instagram. It is the Comic Jam at the Comic Jam on Twitter, and on Instagram is at the Comic Jam _alt, because I'm a dumbass and I lost the login, and I cannot for the life of me get them to respect that I am the dude who is the idiot that lost in the first place. So
I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm still there.
It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling at all.
Definitely not. Well, the only reason I ask is, I do a little bit of artwork, but I don't consider mine anything consistent enough to be able to do something like this. But my daughter, she's 14 and she does amazing artwork, and she wants to pursue something with artwork in her future. Getting her out there, would be fun.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So cool. And anybody else who wanted to, contact you, that's the way to do it. So, look,
may I answer a question for Wobbly Boots?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if he's still on, big question: right, will there be a Bigfoot sexing? Dan was adamant that there not be any Bigfoot freakiness in there. However, I'm like on our our series Bible, I made certain that it was like canon that he did have a knee slapper. So that is
there's a little foot out there somewhere.
Yeah. And Peter Dinklage in a suit, man, he done grown. He got, that's a big Peter Dinklage. So
it'd be a twist though, for sure. Look.
Oh yeah.
I think Nathan likes your answer. There you go. Okay, so just a real quick question: as a writer, creator, editor, who inspires you? Like you say, you're before the show, your nerdness doesn't travel far beyond what you're have your fingers in or hands in right now, but reading comics, like what do you read? What has inspired you to do something like this? Or is there anything you draw from, like a style, a writer that inspired you to do what you're doing?
So I dropped comics.
Okay.
When I was a teen, like I started playing music, and music was like my life for the longest. And then we had kids, and I started, you get in the workforce, you start working, and there was still that drive, that want, that need to create. And I think regardless of like what you do, if you are somebody who has to write, has to draw, has to do something, you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter if you have an audience or not. It's something that it's like scratching an itch. But I was working at a moving company, and down the road from the shop was a comic book shop, and they did like the live action role play out in the parking lot, and people would like drive by and throw drink bottles at them and stuff. And it was like, so by the time I finally like had enough time to go in there, they're like, "Oh, one of you guys." And
Right.
like, I promise you, I'm also like, I'm still, a nerd. I'm just,
I'm still a
Short
card
for
carrying
living.
member.
I've got my card,
Yeah.
y'all. Check it out. See.
But I got back into comics, started reading the Sandman series, and got really deep into that, which is
Really.
it's really good intro for like, I think sometimes people find the books when they need the books. Like I read On the Road when I was like 18, and it was like right at the time that Jack Kerouac would have been the perfect book for me to read. And same thing for Vonnegut. And so when I got into reading Gaiman, I think that was when it was kind of the good time for me to start reading that and go like, oh, this is cool. It doesn't have to be tights. It doesn't have to be superheroes or whatever. You can tell a compelling story and make something beautiful and also horrific. And so I was really inspired by that. Lately, I've been reading the Love and Rockets. I've been kind of going back and reading a bunch of the old Hernandez brothers stuff. I've also been reading Nexus, and kind of reading a bunch of old stuff, to be honest. And I've still reading a bunch of like indie comics and whatever I can get my hands on. I picked up, what was it? Oh man, I went to the comic shop the other day and I can't even think of the title I picked up, but it was it's a crazy like space comic, that like an indie comic, and it's fantastic.
It's not called Radiant Black, is it? Because that's an awesome one.
No, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about that book.
Really good one. Really good one. Yeah, I found myself lately, when I go to the comic book shop, because adulting, as we're talking about before, it just bogs you down sometimes, and you can't let the inner child out as much as you like to. But when I do get at the comic book shop, I found myself buying more IDW and Image comics than I do DC or Marvel now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but maybe just getting older. I'm not sure.
They've been like knocking it out of the park, and Scout Comics have been doing some really compelling stuff. As far as like boutique labels to put out comics, we're like in a golden age of that, because there's so much talent going out there. I love the Dork Art Studios thing. He actually did like a for our live kickoff party, he did a really cool poster that had the two characters that looked like it was the beginning of like a poster for a boxing match. But yeah, we get a lot of like just awesome fan art. It's crazy because of, like, now we gotta fucking put up or shut up, man.
Yeah.
That's right, to your point, like paying attention to all these things that are basically comics evolving. I mean, here's the internet for you right now. And,
and another
spreading
thing,
everything.
You're talking about the internet. So I live out in the middle of nowhere in Alabama. Never ever thought that I would have the opportunity to like make comics with other people.
Scale something to size, per se.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's because, you would always read the liner notes in the comics, and it'd be like, oh, in New York or LA or whatever. And I don't live in either of those places. But, I met the Comic Jam, people from the Comic Jam group on Reddit. And that's how I got my start at the Comic Jam. And now I just kind of help run it. And, dude, we really have a great time. It's basically like So in terms of like committing to making a comic, it's really hard. The longer the story is, the harder it is to commit. So one page, you can do one page, you can make one page, and that one page can be used to kind of bolster your portfolio. And also in the production of that one page, you meet other people. So what we do is we pair up an artist and we pair up a writer each week. They have a theme that everybody votes on, and we tell the writers like, hey, you have a week to write this, a one-page script to this theme. And then, the next Monday, I'll pair those up with the artists that are available. And the artists have a month to produce that one page. And then we post them up on our website, which is thecomicjam.com. There's like an http:// whatever, but thecomicjam.com. So.
It's awesome to really create a community. I mean, that is the opposite of what all of the negative social media does. Is you are able to actually create your own community.
And it's fun. Yeah.
Group.
And following the right group is what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. And I've been kind of doing my best to curate who we have. Like, I don't want somebody coming in and being a jerk to my friends, right? Everybody in the Comic Jam is my friend. And so I kind of go through their social media, and like, if you're an asshole on social media, I'm not going to have you in the group. I don't want that drama. And we had some really, really good artists that I just didn't want to accept into the group, because like, we have people from all walks of life. We have people of all like creeds, nationalities, like orientations. I want those people to feel safe, secure, and like, I want people to be able to create without having the burden of feeling like you're under a microscope from other people. We keep things like PG-13-ish as far as like content goes on the site, but I don't want anybody to be an asshole to my friends. So I do my best to curate who's in the group and to make sure that they would be a good fit for the group. But man, it's just been a real joy. And that's also where I met Dan. Dan came on. We had a tribute to Steve Ditko after he had died. And Dan and I did a really fun Steve Ditko tribute. And it, like I said, it was one page. But that's where we kind of kicked it off, and he's like my best friend now. He's a great dude, and we talk at least like an hour a day almost. So,
yeah, my hat's off to you, man.
No, you're absolutely right, man. It really is a community. It's like putting farm animals together. You're going to build a community. That's a great way to put it. I was well, it's true. If you put farm animals together, cows, pigs, chickens, all that, they'll build a community. Like, I had a friend at work telling me a story about how when he was younger, a falcon came down to attack a chicken, and the goats and the pig attacked the falcon and stopped him from doing it. And I was like, because they live with each other. And it's the same way on kind of social media. I was completely anti-social media for the longest time, probably 8-9 years, quit Facebook, everything else, 8-9 years. Because back then that was about all there was Facebook. And then, I started listening to podcasts. I got Twitter just so I could communicate with podcasters. And I've developed some of my best friends that I talk to on a daily basis just through podcasting and Twitter, the community. And it's all about who you follow and that kind of stuff. Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. You don't want people, shitting on your friends. Period. Yeah. I don't want people associated with, anything I'm doing like that either. So I totally agree with that, man. Trying to think. Okay. Going through the questions here, I'm flipping through. Oh, for anybody who's listening to the audio version of this is why you check out the live version, or you at least come check out the show after it's already aired, because we are flipping through the fan art of the comic book the entire time we've been talking. I'm just going through all this fan, because there's like 50 in this gallery here. So I'm just flipping through all of them as we're talking. Some really, really great stuff you can see here. But
And
Man,
also, if you're listening and you're like, man, that Casey Allen, he sounds like freaking hot. Like,
you want to check that out too.
yes, he is.
Yes.
You don't have to watch the show to know that. Just in your head, you're like, yeah, dude's hot. So,
well, man, I don't really have a whole lot else to say about the comic. I mean, it's awesome. I definitely want to check out these issues when it comes out. I know you said that you have 5 issues art-wise out there, but story-wise, you guys are just working down the road for this to be a long thing.
Yeah, 5 issues in the arc, and we're still kind of like figuring out what we want to do with it after that. We have plans, but as to whether we go through with them or not is kind of gonna kind of be contingent on how this is received as a whole.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, if you're judging by like right now, I mean, we're doing good enough. So hopefully we can keep this ball rolling. I've had a lot of fun getting in it with these characters and kind of poking around in that world. Our Kickstarter, which is live now, we have 20 days left to go. Bigfoot Knows Karate, Chapter 1, Hunter Prey. So check that out. Bigfoot Knows Karate. I doubt there are any other Bigfoot Knows Karates on the Kickstarter. If there are, ours is better and way cooler.
It's the chicken and the egg.
Yeah. Definitely check out our Kickstarter. It has a video that we put together that's fantastic. The book is already at it's already like almost 500% of funded. So you're getting your books. If you want to fund this book, you're getting it. We also have met a few of our stretch goals, and we're hoping to meet a few more by the end of it. So you guys are going to, if you back the book, all physical copy people are going to get a Bigfoot Knows Karate baseball card. And nice. We're also going to give digital edition copies of a few other books from other creators that have, joined up with us to do this. And they're really fantastic books. We have our tiers for the Kickstarter. It's just regular like print edition. We have the digital edition, and we keep the digital edition fairly. I don't want you guys paying out the butt for a digital edition. I want you to read the digital edition and you're like, man, I should have got that physical edition, and get us next time. But until then, read that digital edition and love the hell out of it, because I know you will. We're gonna have. I'm not being cocky. I just know it's badass, right, dude. Right. It's totally
advertising, man. That's what you show your friends. That way, they don't have to touch your paper edition.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, for the deluxe edition, it's a little bit more. It's a 30-page story plus 14 pages of extras, which is includes Dan Price's secret sketches, the Bigfoot Knows Karate fan art gallery, and exclusive access to the Bigfoot Knows Karate commentary roundtable discussion video with myself, Dan Price, and a few other people, where we just kind of talk. It's going to be a QR code. You hit the QR code, and it's going to see my dumb face along with a few other people. And we're going to talk about the origins of the book, and maybe kind of give a hint of what lies ahead. And it's also, the deluxe edition has the Adam Caswell variant cover. And I talked a little bit about how we turned a piece of fan art into a variant cover. Adam Caswell's the dude that did the fan art that, like, my jaw completely detached from my face and landed really hard on the floor. It hurt. But when I picked it, put it back on and adjusted it, I realized we had a really awesome piece of fan art.
Nice.
Pretty damn rad. So,
see, I'm all about variants. So, yeah, I'm down.
We have several variant covers. We have the Matt Skillern variant. We have, let me find. I can't find what I need. We have several different variant covers by different artists, and they're all
Right.
fantastic. And in addition to that, we have the ability to get a digital commission 12 by 18. We have a half-page ad space for sale. We have add-ons like a T-shirt or a Bigfoot Knows Karate stretch canvas print, which is like, I'm not gonna lie, like I might want that for like, I need to jazz this up because it's looking pretty dour right now. Because it's a get and bang on some drums or play some guitar really loud. And I was in a podcast the other day and I knocked over my banjo. It was super loud and I felt really bad. From a guy on the other end, I was like, "I'm sorry, that was a banjo." So, why do you have a banjo? Like, why don't you have a banjo?
Exactly. Why
Banjos are
wouldn't you?
rad, dude.
All right.
Get with the program, man. Get a fucking banjo.
It's fun to play an instrument. I somewhat learned how to play some tabs when I was younger on a guitar.
Oh man,
Ross
that's
always,
great.
Ross is always better than I was, but
then you realize you're
didn't get
doing math. You're like, fuck.
right, right, yeah.
So
wait, you said you had the video on your Kickstarter website here. Do you care if I just go ahead and share the video?
dude, hit it up, man.
Cool, let's play this.
You're like, his hair is gonna come out of the knot because he's gonna be banging his head. Ross,
No, there's no knot.
Yeah.
There's no knot, my friend.
Oh, I thought you had a knot, dude. Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
I had it down to my chin a few weeks ago, and I was like wanting to kind of do it back like that, but it just like I looked like a troll doll. Like I couldn't do it, man. I guess my head's messed up.
Y'all have fun with y'all's full head of hair here. You see,
That's
started
me
going
whistling
bald at like
past the
29.
graveyard.
But I can grow a beard down to my dick, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, man. It like it's all good. when I start when it starts going, you damn sure bet I'm going. Like I'm not gonna do like the Mr.
Don't hold
Burns
on.
thing.
Just start shaving it. Just
Or
start
like
shaving it. That's right. Don't hold on.
I saw like a guy the other day who was like way too young to have a comb over. I'm like, man,
Just let go.
you're young enough that it would look cool.
Pay $30 for a good set of clippers and never have to pay for a haircut again the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Just let go. So, all right, well, let's check out this video here. This is the video preview. Bigfoot Knows Karate. Let's do it. All right, let's see here. And this, I'm getting the hang of this, y'all. Should I just mind narrating it? Can I narrate it?
Narrate the fuck out of it, man.
Yeah.
In a
Get
time.
bigger over time. Just reading the screen. That's why y'all check out the live show. Just because the legend is big. It doesn't make the legend untrue.
And all
Forget
of this,
what you've heard. Sorry.
that last section was all something that Dan kind of was proof of concept from Dan.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we're keeping that in. That's too rad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's my boy, Kung Fu Thulu.
Yeah, this video preview is amazing because you get to see a lot of stuff in this video preview you don't see in the first in the preview you give. So it's like, oh, okay. If you had interest before, now it's like, what's going on with this guy? So love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. Y'all check that out. Fun stuff. Well, Casey, man, it's been awesome talking about Bigfoot Knows Karate. I want to check this comic book out. I urge everybody, if you haven't, check out this website. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Give them some support. Buy, support comic book creators. Buy the copy, buy the hard copy. Have a good time. It's a really good book. The artwork's great. Casey, where can they find you at if they want to either get in touch with you or find any more of your work?
So when I came up with my handles for Instagram and Twitter, I was doing my kind of commentary on mid-90s indie rock music. And and I just kept it like an idiot. So it's robots, plural, eat, singular, guitar, also singular. So robots eat guitar. on both Twitter and Instagram. You can see me yell at Alabama politicians and talk indie comics, as well as, random other stuff. But it's mostly me just being mad that I live in a state that is in the South. So, because I love where I live so much, and I think our politicians are morons. But yeah, say love you.
You can say that about just about any state.
Just about any.
Just I love it when people are like, "Well, fucking leave them. Like, they can leave. Fuck them. I was here first."
Preach.
So where are you guys from, by the way? I've talked all about Alabama.
I'm originally from Louisiana, but I've lived in North Carolina most of my life.
What part of North Carolina are you in?
I'm in Winston-Salem right now.
Okay, I have family all through Charlotte. So
okay, I lived in Charlotte for a few years. Went to college there.
Yeah, Charlotte's cool, man. Where'd you go?
City.
Did you go to like Belmont Abbey or somewhere like that?
Johnson and Wells.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, right in the middle of downtown. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It was. I was actually born in Winston. I'm down in Wilmington now, so I've moved and traveled all over the place, and kind of came back to the same place.
So there's some indie creators there. I'm blanking on their names right now, but the book is called Ace Blade, and they're out of Winston-Salem. Is
Ace
two
Blade.
Two black dudes. They're fantastic, really just hardcore into what they do. And the product, Ace Blade, is such a good comic. So check that out. If you ever see them at cons, they hit up the cons quite a bit, and really good indie creators.
Do you have a way to contact them? I might hit you up with that. Maybe get them on the show sometime. That'd be awesome.
Excuse me. That burp was provided by Trim Tad Brewing's flotation device. Quite good. It is a pink guava, tangerine, and sea salt beer. It is quite tasty. Really good local brew from Birmingham, Alabama. Sorry. No, I'll email you their info, but Ace Blade is like a solid comic. They're super
awesome.
good.
Cool deal. I'll check it out. Well, Casey, I think that wraps up Bigfoot Knows Karate. You are welcome to stay on and talk about any of the stuff. I've given you kind of a rundown. I don't know what you're watching right now, but we're going to hop into some shows and get into some Dune.
Okay, if you're talking about Only Murders in the Building, which I watched with my wife, fantastic. You need to watch it. As far as like my TV time, I have two kids, so it's either Disney Plus shows that I do not care about, that aren't like the Marvel stuff or the Star Wars stuff, or like whatever reality show my wife is into, which is like 90 Day Fiance and Love After Lockup, which, man, oh my God.
Is it better than soap operas? That's the price.
It is a soap opera with real people and real consequences, which is like it's heartbreaking. So I would not recommend. But yeah, you guys, Bigfoot Knows Karate. Check us out. Hit us up. Thank you so much for having me on. I don't want to get in the way of your discussion about shows that I haven't been able to catch up with, because I really enjoyed Doom Patrol. Ross and I know that Doom Patrol is one of the best shows on HBO Max right now. And I'll stand by that. I want to check out that Batman podcast, by the way, that's on HBO Max. I keep forgetting about it.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, I did want to ask you one more question though. You said something earlier about Sandman. Have you listened to the audiobooks yet?
No, and I want to.
Holy
is it good?
Shit. Yes. Literally, I mean, the best audio drama. It's an audio drama. I'm not considered audiobook. It's an audio drama. The best I've ever listened to. It's insane.
Really? Is it like immersive audio? Is it like,
Yes. Yeah, and it's got actors in it and everything. Like
dude, they have a cast list on there.
Yeah, it's insane.
World.
I haven't started the second one yet, but I'm delivering mail all week next week, so I'm gonna have way more than 24 hours worth of mail to deliver for the whole week. So I'm definitely gonna finish the second book.
So I work in an office, in a lab rather, and I'm in a microscope all day doing micro welds. So while I'm at work, I listen to podcasts like continually. So I need to hit up the Sandman thing.
It's really good.
Yeah, I could talk about horror podcasts all day. But man, you guys, I've had a blast talking to y'all. Thank you so much for having me on. Bigfoot Knows Karate is the book that you guys want to have in your collection. Wobbly Boots, I will be more than happy to provide more political social media posts. I don't know
Or
that you would
X-rated
like it,
Bigfoot
though.
outtakes.
Oh yeah.
Either one will work. That's right. That's right.
So yeah, Bigfoot Knows Karate. Check us out. We have a lot of fun doing it, and it's bonkers. Like
Yeah.
the stuff that we have planned, you're gonna like. We want you to want to shit your pants. So
I love shitting my pants. Who doesn't love shitting their pants?
yeah,
right?
man.
Good
Sometimes
stuff.
you just gotta
Okay.
just sink into it.
I
Just
don't.
like
That's right.
I did that.
Don't lie. Don't lie. All right. Well, Casey, man, I really appreciate it. It's been a great time having you. I will include links to all your stuff in the show notes. And, you got my email, man. Hit me up if you ever want to hop on anytime, talk about anything.
Dude,
right.
Thank you so much, man. And hit me up about the Comic Jam, because like we're always looking for new people, and it's a fun way to just kind of get that out of your system and try something new and push yourself in your writing or art or whatever. So
okay, cool deal. Yeah, my daughter's an insanely talented artist. Not trying to pump her up there or anything, but yeah, I'll send her some artwork from you. It's pretty good.
That's awesome.
All right, man. Have a good one, but I appreciate it.
Take it easy, guys. Y'all take it easy.
Best wishes, man.
All right, same to you, man. Okay, I need to figure out how to get out of here now.
The beauty
somehow,
of
like my
life.
screen got like embiggened and
Hit escape. Always
so,
hit escape.
yeah, I'm just gonna
Control
do
Alt
this.
Delete Power.
All right.
Hold that for 4 seconds. Later, buddy. Good stuff.
The struggle is real.
It definitely is, man. Definitely is. All right. So then there were two. Man, where do you want to start? Did you have some news you wanted to put out there? Did you want to? I mean, I know we had the big one that we were talking about before, right before the show started. Or do you want to just get started with some shows and movies? Let's talk about it. Just put
Okay,
it
yeah. We'll hit on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, movie sets sometimes lead to accidents, and
yes,
one of the infamous Baldwin brothers ended up shooting and actually, taking a life today, or actually, was it yesterday? I think it was
yesterday.
Thursday.
Yes.
So, I mean, it kind of brings a whole new, not a whole new, because it's probably like the third time it's happened. Actually, I think it is the third time it's happened since I can remember.
I think in our lifetimes, yes, but it's probably happened more, or at least.
Oh yeah,
I don't know the exact number. Yeah. So
before you go bringing in Hollywood safety and everything else.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing that this year, 2021, that, we still have issues with something like this. And so, I mean, that was pretty big because, I mean, it was blowing up on everything that I was reading. So you got to look at it from a, like I guess you can call it a safety point of view. I mean, who's in charge? How many hands does it have to pass through? I'm sorry.
No, there's also a difference. We don't know much about the story yet, from what I can tell. Or at least I haven't seen a whole lot about it. I know that there's also a difference from what I can understand with this one as like previous before. Like what was the guy in The Crow? Brandon
Lee, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one I remember from my childhood. That was an actual bullet that was in the gun, correct? That was
so what they said was it was a blank, but there was an actual bullet in the barrel, which I don't know. I mean, that's what, because that was brought back up in the news again with this. So
yeah, that's what I'm understanding. That, from what I understand with this one, like I said, I haven't heard a lot about it. There wasn't an actual projectile that came out of the gun. However, with these guns, there is still an explosion within a chamber that causes pressure and gases that shoot out at a very high rate that at point blank range could definitely kill somebody and or injure somebody, which from what I understand is what happened.
And so most of your blanks typically carry a packing wad of some sort in the barrel. And what that does is actually provides both the visual effect,
the flash, right?
Yes. And so, and plus the spread and everything else that comes with it. This happened in New Mexico. And so they're doing a full on investigation, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it's just, it's not shocking, but it is like very disturbing that, here we are still having issues like this, because they put stuff on sets all the time. We don't have to talk about like fake laser guns, but I mean, we talk about tanks and everything else that they use for like real life style battles. Right? Ugh.
Well, it just makes me wonder, like, you watch movies like The Matrix where they're using like, Uzis and, are those blanks in there, or is that computer? Like, I always imagined in the day and age we were in, that was just added in later with computer animation, but I guess
Well,
it's
there's
not.
a certain effect that, recoil and everything else that comes with it. So,
Right.
I don't think that they typically do use blinks quite a bit, and they do it on a soundstage with all the padding. Because I don't know if you've ever seen like behind the scenes, they actually uh, the way that they pad the ceiling, they do two things: one for exhaust for all of the actual powder, and two for the actual sound suppression.
Right.
Because they, when you have all the studios next to each other, they have to do it on like a closed set for a certain time. But I don't know everything that goes into it. I just know a little bit. So I don't know where the line gets drawn. Like, when do you do and when do you don't? So it's pretty interesting that, well, actually, it's really sad because, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
It does suck. Knowing nothing about it, I don't see I don't know any reason why it would be something intentional, obviously. So I'm just going to assume that it was something that was intentional. But regardless, you're right. It's something you got to live with for the rest of your life. It's got to be tough, man. It sucks. It sucks for the family. It sucks for him. It sucks for everybody involved. And it wasn't even just the guy he killed. There's also one of the guy in the ICU
It was
or
a
in the hospital.
woman that he killed.
Was it?
She was a cinematographer, and it was actually kind of a sad story. She was from Russia, I believe is what it said, but she was brought up on movies, television and movies, and basically, lived that life to where that's what she wanted to do when she grew up, and pushed and moved and got to a point where I believe she was in her 40s and just, trying to live her best life, making the stuff that she enjoyed growing up. So,
Right.
yeah,
It sucks, man. Best wishes to the family. It really does suck, but it's one of those unfortunate things, I guess. You can't really blame anybody, or can you? I don't know. It's not for me to determine, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
It's sad, we can't really, we don't get to talk about too many things that are super sad. So that is kind of it's a gut punch, but
it really is. Yeah. Look. All right. Nathan says, how about Ruby Rose being a mega C word to the CW cast and crew? You know what, Nathan? I saw a teeny tiny bit about this and I just glazed right over it because honestly, any video I look up on the internet that has a C word in it does not involve Ruby Rose. So I just kept going. I was like, no, let's just go. Like it seemed very negative, whatever was happening. I'm not huge into the Batwoman series, so for me, it was like, I'm not going to waste my time getting upset about this, about a show that I don't even watch. That an actor that's not even on a show anymore that I don't even watch. Like, well, I don't know, maybe she's back. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened with it, but do you know anything about that?
I don't. And actually, I was gonna ask you a question, just because having Fandom last week, and clearly, like, we watched it and talked about it, but I was actually kind of curious. With your circles and who you talk to, and what your group of friends that you keep up with day to day, how many people are like talking about Fandom or have asked you all the questions? You being a big, massive DC fan, what are you getting and what are you hearing about it like a week later?
General audience, I hear nothing about actual Fandom. All I hear is about the stuff that comes out of it. Like, oh, I heard, there's a Flash trailer. I heard, about the Shazam trailer and seeing this kind of stuff. So I hear the results, but I don't hear anything about actual Fandom. Like all general audience I know, or somebody I would consider to be a fan, but not necessarily dive into stuff when they hear something. Knew nothing about the actual process and how it came out, or the presentation which they put it in. Just once it hits the internet, they're flipping through and they see it, which is cool. And I get that. Generalized fan, as long as they're interested, that's all I care about. But I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of people in my circle at work, and obviously, besides you, honestly, Ross, everybody else that I talk to is people that I've met on Twitter about this stuff. So everybody's talking about that on Twitter with me, or everybody that I associate myself with. But at work, I've heard a lot of people really, really excited about the Batman trailer. Was really, really big. People were excited to finally see something about Flash, Black Adam. Like I've heard a few things about that. I didn't hear anything about Peacemaker. I think it's one of those things when it comes out, people are going to see it and be like, "Oh, I'll give this a shot, maybe like it and watch it," but nobody's really excited for it. At least nobody, general audience, I think, is really excited for it. Maybe something they love, but I don't think they're like looking forward to it coming out. But yeah, it's been in my circle somewhat popular. Some of the stuff that I've been hearing from people, all positive reviews. Haven't heard anybody say anything bad about anything they've put out from DC fandom yet. So yeah, it's pretty good for me. But you?
I have not heard anything
At all?
And when I say anything, I mean like I have something comes out for Star Wars, I get massive texts. People are like texting me left and right. Everyone's like, "Oh, did you see this? What does this mean?" Or blah 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 blah.
Wow.
Same thing for Marvel. And I mean, once again, and like I've never held anything back from DC, but like I had to basically be the person pushing and be like, "Hey, you got like 4 solid trailers, or back behind the scenes information last week, stuff like if you're interested in seeing it." And I got, I don't want to say turned away, but like, yeah, I'll watch it at some point.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. I mean, fandom hasn't really gained it. I mean, how old is fandom now? Are we talking like
This is the second year.
second year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, last year I think that I didn't really hear a whole lot, but you got a lot more because of the whole COVID shut in and everything else.
Right. That and the Zack Snyder Justice League stuff was really big. So no, I just found it kind of interesting that I wasn't getting a lot of traction with the people that I was talking to. I was asked more questions about like the whole Marvel shuffle with all their movies basically shuffling down one. And I was like, there's like other stuff coming too, right? And so essentially just sending dates for movies and trailer links and everything else. Can I be honest with why I think that is? I think that nowadays, and I'm not talking shit about Marvel because I do love Marvel. I love all their shit, man. It's so good. But I think Marvel is the cool, accepted thing to like.
Well, no, it's definitely hit mainstream.
Yeah, DC's not cool and accepted to be like. But guess what? When DC drops a movie, it makes money. I mean, well, not every movie, but for the most part, when DC drops big news, drops a television show, drops a movie, drops something, it makes money. People go see it. It's like people want to be closet DC fans. I don't know why. Like watching DC is like watching porn. They don't want anybody to know that you liked Batman versus Superman. But guess what? Tons of people bought that movie, went to go see that movie, and have watched that movie since it's been streaming for a long time. Like people love that movie, but people don't want to admit. No, I don't want to admit that I love that movie, but I love that movie, and I could be wrong. And like I said, I'm not by any means talking shit about Marvel because I fucking love Marvel, dude. I do. I love the MCU. I love the Infinity Saga. I love everything that they did in that, and I read Marvel. It's great stories. I'm just more of a DC guy. Like if I had to pick one, me personally, I'd pick DC. I just feel like a lot of people in the world like automatically go into DC stuff with, well, this is gonna suck. It's gonna be a failure.
Well, there's been a lot of you got a lot of weight on those shoulders that they have, accrued over the years, only out of negativity, like not out of like doing anything massively wrong, just negativity.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't even know if saying like if it's unfair is the right word. I mean, it's unnecessary, but
that's a better word, unnecessary.
Yeah. My point was to ask only simply because I know that you're more DC. Like if you picked one, that would be it. So I was curious, like what talk you were hearing, because I wasn't getting a whole lot of it, so I was just trying to figure it out. You got some talk right there.
My daughter came out and the dog started barking. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I've heard a few people in my circle, but once again, it also could be an influential thing. People in my circle know that I'm a big DC guy. They know I'm a big comic book guy, but they know that I love DC and I love so maybe they cater to my talking with it. But they also talk to me about Marvel stuff. We talk about What If and Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, all that stuff that come out. We've talked about it, but I have a few people at work that have really, really enjoyed the things they've seen. However, most of the time at work, I'm by myself. If I'm delivering mail, I'm by myself all day. If I'm supervising, I'm in the office with people for about 2 hours, then they're all out delivering, and I'm in the office all day by myself. So I don't talk to a lot of people at work, but of the ones I've talked to, they've enjoyed it. But it could just be the circle I'm in, you know? Like I said, everybody on Twitter that I associate with basically is because of comics or anything related to it. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess we might as well stay on a DC train and start talking about some shows and just leave the news. Not a whole lot going on in the news world. For the past 2 weeks, I will say that I have dropped that ball. I don't even know if I talked about it last week, but the Berserker. I mean, that's something I am looking forward to.
You mentioned the last 2 weeks about dropping the ball on it, but yeah, go ahead and say it now since so we don't drop the ball on it. Yeah,
you got 2 projects coming out. You got an animated animated series, I do believe, and then you definitely have the live action movie coming out with Keanu Reeves playing the Berserker role. And I caught the Berserker on, I want to say I caught it on something free, just like out of nowhere. I'm like, how did I miss where this came from? Because I'm don't normally have a whole lot of time to sit down and read, and so comics have taken a real back seat for me. You know, when I get the opportunity, like a week off or something, I'll try to shuffle through a few of them. But a real big fan. I mean, you know, Keanu Reeves is going to be like the next Bill Murray, you know, like the feel good person who just randomly roams the earth. Right. But I'm interested that the movie is supposed to be like rated R. I'm not positive about the animated series, but I know that they basically have all of that on Netflix ready to go. The movie is supposed to begin filming. We'll probably have let's be realistic, probably 3 years before it actually comes out, but it's just nice seeing it get traction because it was a really good story. And I mean, ongoing. As we were talking with Casey, it's nice because everything that comics started off with, you know, the big stories, here we are still talking about the big stories all the time, the kings of the comic world. But, you know, it's so awesome seeing all of the independents use comic books as their medium to tell all sorts of different stories.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like I said, even me as somebody who's been reading comics most of my life, you know, I've had, you know, a while where I wasn't and everything else, but got back into it. I read more IDW and Image comics now than I do DC and Marvel comics, you know, and honestly, I read a lot of Marvel comics when I was younger. I don't read a lot of Marvel comics now. Like now, Marvel for me is more movies and television shows. Like, and I'm fine with that because they tell great stories and it's a lot of stuff that I have a basis knowledge of. But I don't know, man. It's just you're right. Being able to tell stories through comics is a great medium to be able to give folks because it's like episodic television. You know, you're looking at a comic that comes out bi-weekly or bi-monthly, or you know, it's fun to have that angst while you're waiting for the story to finish. So
we got a built-in audience with people that go to comic book stores or people that, you know, love hunting and finding the gem in the wild, I guess, best way to say it. So I think it's really cool that we are at that age of comic books to actually have, once again, you know, the internet's brought all these people together to tell all these stories, to do all these projects and do all these things. And I think it's fantastic. And I mean, the ones that are actually making it and kicking it off, even if you have 5 books that you're going to turn, you know, into a story. I mean, like if that's your goal, I mean, dude, beat your goal to death. Have fun.
Have fun. Hell yeah, dude. I just, I don't know why this just came over me. Do you know that the first time I ever got on the internet was at your house? Prodigy Internet. Do you remember that? Getting on Prodigy Internet on Cherry Street House? Yeah. Yeah. And now we're here doing this right now. Like, how crazy. Like, I don't know why I just thought about that. Like, Prodigy Internet, man.
Dude, collecting free AOL disc, man. Get those hours.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. But yeah, I forgot even where we were going with that.
It doesn't matter. Let me ask you something. What'd you watch this week besides our normal?
Besides the normal stuff, I finished up my rewatch of Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh, totally series?
Yeah, the whole series, because it's only like 6 seasons, 30-minute show. It's not too bad. Me and Ashley. Okay, so the way it works at my house is like, we have the TV in the bedroom, and I have everything, every kind of service you could want except for Apple TV. Which, by the way, I'm getting Apple TV because I saw the preview for what's the Tom Hanks show coming out.
Finch, I think it's
Finch,
a show or
yes.
a movie.
I saw that and I was like, okay, favorite actor. Here we go. I'm gonna watch this. Yeah. So
Do you
I'm
celebrate
definitely.
Tom Hanks Day?
I don't. I don't know anything about that. I just love Tom
Full
Hanks
day
as
of
an actor.
Tom Hanks movies.
Is it? I'd watch it.
Just
But yeah, I saw that preview today and I was like, okay, I've got to buy Apple TV now because I've got to see this show. So definitely got to see the show. But the way it works is, kind of me and my wife work out opposite schedules for the most part. So when I get home, if she's watching something on television, that's what we're watching. She's queen of the remote. But vice versa. When she gets home, if I'm watching something, I'm king of the remote. And if we're both together, we compromise on something. Just like, okay, let's watch something we both like, blah, blah. Well, my wife has been watching Friday Night Lights for the last few weeks, which is a show I never got into when I was younger. Not anything against it, just never got into it. It's actually not a bad show. We streamed the whole series. Actually not a bad show because, it's on when I'm in there, so I'm going to watch it. But other than that, I watched the Zack Snyder Justice League, the gray or black and white edition the other day. Really enjoyed that. Not much, man. Not much else other than that, But you?
I think I caught back up on Foundation. Fantastic show. I mean, I think with all the shows that we watch, I think I've kind of figured out a little bit more like what my issue is with some of the things that I see. Right. And so watching things like Foundation, I don't know what I'm going to get. Great show. I turn around and just get it. I mean, all the little itty bitty things that, look expensive probably are expensive, but I mean, it feels awesome. I think it was last week that I finished Ted Lasso. Still can't recommend it enough.
I think you texted me the other day when you finished it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Discovery 3, season 3, still kicking that. I'm going to try to push that one along. Try to milk it until season 4 comes out. But yeah. Just interested, always got to see what's new. What people are watching. Or old.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. I got to figure out what my next old show to rewatch is going to be. Like I said, we just did Third Rock from the Sun. I want to say something like Seinfeld, but that's so many episodes, and I own like the first 9 seasons of that on DVD. I've seen them a million times, so it's not really a rewatch for me. Anybody who's listening right now, throw me a suggestion of an old, 90s sitcom just to rewatch. A fall asleep show, something you can have fun with that if you miss, it's not a big deal. So just finish Third Rock from the Sun if you want a reference point. But all right, man. Well, let's talk about some current shows going on right now. I say we start with Stargirl. Let's escalate from here because this is the one that had me the least excited this week based on everything that happened. We got the whole grayscale of the entire thing, which is great. Whatever. It's definitely coming to the end. We're definitely starting to see these characters develop into what they're going to be in the future, I feel, or become stronger superheroes. I just have some questions about some things that happened in this episode, and I hope that they're answered in the future, and I hope that we kind of get a better direction of where we're going because I don't know what the end game is here based on what they've given us so far. But Stargirl, what do you think so far? I think we got we said 2 or 3 episodes left.
Two after two. Yeah.
So next week is the penultimate, which feels right.
It does. This was definitely a shedding of the unnecessary skin type episode. All the crow that they built up to this point is now getting to a point where they are going to ditch the baggage and move on. And I'm going to assume that they're going to put a stone back together and trap a bad guy.
Maybe. I don't know because they've already put a stone back together and it didn't work.
I know.
That was the idea. So it's all bad
Well,
together.
it worked for a while.
Well, let's put it this way. I have a pretty good feeling by the end of the series or season, the good guys are going to win because that's pretty much a given. Right?
But what if they don't?
Yeah. However, based on some things in this episode, I do have some questions about one, how it's going to happen, and two, who exactly is going to survive. Let's dive into it, man. This episode is basically in purgatory the whole time, right? Kind of explaining purgatory. It's where Eclipso was born. There was one thing I realized about this episode real quick. Courtney is not a superhero. Courtney is a girl with a magical staff. Because without that staff, she is absolutely nothing without that staff. And they mentioned a few times this episode, you are nothing without the staff. You're all staff, blah, blah. She's garbage without it, man. Would have been killed a number of times.
I think
they
that
killed the main character. Yeah.
There was a real... I wanted to see a little bit more of a reckoning because I have the bad feeling like she's going to, since we know what happens at the end, she's going to come back, and I just hope that she's not cocky. We've seen other shows that we watch right now that have offed people and brought them back, and they did a pretty good job about not being cocky, although I do have some problems with some other things too. But I'm afraid with where they put Courtney before all this stuff happened, she's got to come back a little bit cocky. And the three of us, when Sarek was back, are all just going to want to slap right across that face.
That bitch better be grateful she came back. That's all I got to say. Better be grateful.
It was interesting. I thought that everything that we saw from the fandom sneak peek for the episode was all right there. I mean, they didn't do... It was probably seen it a second time, but that the entrance with Pat and Jenny coming in,
right?
It didn't have the same way. It wasn't in slow motion. Maybe I'm a slow motion punk and I just don't know it.
It was different. It seemed like it was a different scene. Yeah, filmed differently. Yeah,
but you did get the sadness a little bit. You still had... It was interesting when they find Shade. Shade's still dying. That he's going to turn. And then, I mean, it's predictable. You knew that he was most likely going to use his last little bit of energy to do something good.
Yeah, that was telegraphed. Yep.
Straight up Kylo Ren it, come back in the end. But yeah, actually, you just used the word, and that's been one of my issues, has been the telegraphing with a bunch of this. And as I was kind of pointing out when I was just talking about Foundation, one of my big problems, I think, is that when stuff is too telegraphed, I sit there on the very back of my seat, not like, just... I'm literally just waiting for the events to unfold that are already playing in my head.
Right.
It's a sad thing to say. I felt like the first season of the show, maybe because it was new, or maybe just because it didn't have a straight up, snobby teen constantly make me want to punch something. Which, where's the guy that punches stuff? And I need more dimension. I need more. Right. I've said it this whole entire time on this show, talking about other shows. I need more. I want something else.
Oh yeah. Well, can I be honest with you, man? I think that based on seeing season 3 finale of Titans, suffering through the Flash through more than the first two seasons, same with Arrow. All these DC shows, not even DC shows, all these superhero shows. Shield, Agents of Shield, like these shows. Once they get past, I'd say the second season, they really, really start to fall off. And I don't know if it's fatigue. I don't know if it's bad writing. I don't know what it is, but I think that these shows should really, really focus on having like 2 or 3 10-episode seasons. I think with that, you could tell all the story you want to tell and really, really have a good time with it without all the filler and all the disappointment, because these shows after a while start to be like, all right, either A, I've seen this before, or B, I see this coming. Because I saw Shade dying coming a mile away. I'm not going to lie, it did surprise me one time because I thought for sure that McNider was going to die. Or not die, but get trapped in the what is it, the Shadowland? I thought for sure he was going to get trapped in there, mainly because we have Beth. They're not going to have two of that character in the same universe. But that does raise one question. I'm going to poke a few holes here in the plot. How does he have the goggles in the Shadowlands and she has the goggles in the real world? If he went to the Shadowlands with the goggles, that means they are not left in the real world for her. If she has them in the real world, that means he can't have them in the Shadowlands. How does that work?
Well, it's kind of like when you buy a car, you know, they give you 2 keys.
No, don't think it's like that at all.
You got to make
Nice
a backup
try,
pair.
though. Yeah.
If you're a
Don't think like that at
superhero,
all.
you got to have a backup pair.
Yeah.
Why would you not like it? I mean, clearly you might not be able to have a second magical staff, but I mean,
Okay,
if
I
it's
get what
something
you're
that you
saying.
can
I get what
actually
you're saying.
invent, I
Yeah.
mean, I figured
But
that
if
you
you
could probably
made the
invent something.
goggles,
Yeah.
Okay,
Which I
that
don't
makes a
know,
little
I
more
mean-
sense. I don't know. We'll see.
Because there also seems to be a like a version 3 floating around or being talked about, you know, to that kind of can spice up Beth's suit a little bit.
I hope
So-
so. Golly, because the suit does not look that bad on McNider because I think the suit was made for him, even though it does still look great, but it looks terrible on her. Get
Mhm.
yourself a new suit, please, please, please. Treat yourself. I promise you, you'll enjoy it. You know. Okay, I like Green Lantern a lot. I've read, you know, a bit of Green Lantern. I'm not an expert by any means. I have never seen a superpower from Green Lantern's ring where it could sniff out negative energy. Like
Not even
never ever.
just
Yeah, he hasn't either. He hasn't either. Like never seen it where it could sniff out negative energy. And two, sorry, I'm just poking holes right now. Why would you give them the card for the ring that she gave you what, like 6 episodes ago, that's been in her purse, rather than just any of the blankets or cushions of the couch that he was sleeping on for 16 hours at your house?
yeah, sniff them out.
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand how she out of nowhere. I mean, you're right with your first point. She turned around and she basically turned on Green Lantern OnStar, and next thing you know, once you have Green Lantern on OnStar, you have full map and directions to where you need to go. So, because they're always there when you need them, that's what that ring is doing. So, it's amazing that the card can do that, and not like anything else that even carries the remote, you know, hint of DNA. So, you're muted.
Sorry. They are playing fast and loose with those rules for sure.
They are.
But you know what? Hey, I can't say anything. Like I said, I'll call either DC or Marvel out, but I call Marvel out all the time for their time travel conundrum, which is still up in the air. But we'll see what happens. Well, you know what? I got to put that away. I don't think the time travel conundrum is up in the air. I think that the multiverse conundrum is now the new issue.
Well,
But
everything's going to be an issue until it gets
exactly,
explained and retconned.
I have not seen the whole story, so it could change. So Shade and McKnight are friends, apparently, or at least respect each other.
Well, there's that. I don't know if it was directly said, but there's definitely that understanding that Shade basically saved McNider by banishing him, because the options are death or me sending you away, is the way that I saw it and felt where that storyline was going.
But based on the way that Shade reacted whenever he saw that McNider was alive, I feel like that might have been different. Like, I get it. He says he sent him there to save him, but he didn't think you were alive, bro. Like, so if he didn't think you were alive, he sent you there to die, I feel.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
or
a very
he
good
never
point.
he never even took the like a second to check on you to make sure you were alive. If he's able to open this portal for you to come back, like, I feel like that's kind of an asshole thing. I don't care if he shared a half a bottle of absinthe with you, whatever. Like, that's kind of a dick move, you
Mhm.
know? I don't
Because
know.
you got to think about it. If you're Shade, I'm probably using that Shadowland to get rid of like all of my bad stuff.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
even my trash, you know, like I'm not littering. I'm just throwing
Toss it
bottle
all
into
in there.
the
That's right.
Shadowland.
That's right.
What doesn't exist doesn't exist.
Yeah. When Shade opened that window for them to come out, I thought it was funny. Nobody seemed to be in a hurry at all to get out. Like they're like, oh well, we got to go get not Courtney. Who's the Cindy? We got to go get Cindy. First of all, why?
Oh yeah,
I
because
get
I'm
it.
a good
It
person.
shows you're the good guy, exactly, to go save the person. But two, like when they were all coming out, they didn't seem to be in any kind of hurry at all. Like just kind of taking their time, walking around the corner, looking at the light. And I'm like,
They were enjoying the fact that Shade was standing there with his hand, looking like he was just praying.
Yeah, he was.
Just giving it all to the good Lord.
Or he was forcing it. One of the two, using the force.
He did not look like. I mean, I've seen pain. That didn't look like pain. I mean, that looked like a struggle to make the same face for too long because, like you said, they were taking forever to come out.
A long time. I think it was like the last 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
He was like, I can only hold it for a second. Like 15 minutes he held it for. Let's see. Cindy's turn is in this episode because they described that in Purgatory that like I guess it's basically hell. Whatever they're gonna put you through hell. Whatever your worst fear is, or whatever would make you have the most rage or torment, they put you through. And she assumes throughout this thing that it's her father, but it's not. It's her mother. It's the fact that she killed her mother, and I get that. I like how they twisted that around a little bit, portrayed that. I don't like how in the end everything's not real. Like you pounded that into Courtney's head, like at the beginning, like this is not real. This is not real. Okay, then get the fuck out of there. When you've been told you only have a second to get out of there, don't talk to your not real mother. Of course, I've never killed my mother, and not seen her in years, so I can't really attest to how she felt in that moment. It just feels like get the F out of here, go do your thing. But she seems like she's part of the team now. What's the brother's name? I don't know why I can't remember.
Brother?
He talked Courtney's brother. She talked about Thunderbolt in this one. Mike, yes, talked about getting Thunderbolt back. I like how Barbara really threatened Shade. Like it kind of scared me a little bit. I probably would have done what he did. And they do have that little touch in there that they laid in before about her reminding him of her sister. So it was nice they called back to that, and okay, you see that. But yeah, Shade died a good guy. Right?
He died a guy.
He died a guy. Exactly. He may be even. He may be broke even, but yeah, man. 2 episodes left. We're definitely coming to a point where we know kind of what's going on. The team's building up back together. I want to see what happens to Rick. I want to see what happens to Yolanda. Yeah, I mean, they've got to get the whole team back together, and they better bring Jenny with them. Why the fuck would you not?
And like some actual Green Lantern powers.
It'd be nice. But remember, she wasn't chosen for this ring. She inherited it. Which, once again, I don't know how comic book accurate it is. I haven't read
to the comic.
Yeah, I haven't read anything from the comics with her, but I mean, it's whatever. It's cool to see a Green Lantern. I want to see what suit they put her in, because at some point in time, she's got to have a suit, not just glow green. And I swear, if she just glows green and people are okay with that, then kiss my ass, everybody who said that Ryan Reynolds' suit was stupid. Seriously, kiss my ass. Like, what the fuck? Like, that is some
Didn't see
bullshit.
that one coming.
If glowing green is okay, but the suit was not. Come on, get the fuck out of here. Sorry, I'm a defender of that movie. It's a great movie. It's the same movie as Doctor Strange. I've argued that point before. Check out the podcast. But yeah, man, we got 2 episodes left.
I'm gonna ask you a question because I'm not sure that I knew this, but I believe this was I think I was trying to figure out who played the little evil kid Calypso.
Oh, yeah, great actor.
Yeah, so the kid's name is Milo Stein.
Okay.
But he is given credits to be Bruce Gordon. So do you remember Bruce Gordon was the one that had the one that they had to off to actually beat Eclipso.
Oh, okay.
So he was an adult, and I don't know where. I don't know if I got those lines crossed, or never connected those dots. But
When
when
you
I
say
saw
he's
that,
in
I
the
was like,
credits for it, you mean like in the credits of the rolling credits at the end?
it was in IMDb, I believe is where I looked it up. So
Interesting.
I found that little, yeah. Because, I mean, the kid's creepy.
The kid's very creepy, but the kid does a great job. He's a great actor. Like, he creeps me out, and that's what he's supposed to do. So, kudos to you, brother.
Yep.
Good job.
Guaranteed. Give you some sort of nightmare.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap up Stargirl then. We're getting close to the end. Cover it for the next few weeks, find out what happens, and I'm sure season 3 is coming for this one. So
I do believe every show that we've watched
is renewed for
we're
next
going to
season.
talk about tonight is renewed.
Okay, good deal. I knew Titans was. I wasn't sure about Doom Patrol or the other Stargirl, but
Doom Patrol definitely got it on Fandom Day, or I definitely know the news came out that day. Stargirl, I'm pretty sure I did read that they are getting a season 3.
Okay, I would assume so. Like I said, I mean, it's a CW show. CW shows go for like 9-10 seasons before they cancel them, no matter how good the ratings are. So, not saying Stargirl's bad. I like Stargirl, but based on what CW shows do, I imagine the next 3 seasons are going to be. Then it's either going to get canceled or pick up and be really good. So one of the two. We'll see what happens. History repeats itself. All right, let's talk about your favorite show going on right now in this realm. Let's talk about Doom Patrol, man, because quite honestly, this is a show that this entire season I've been, what the fuck is going on? Last episode, I was kind of like at a point where I was like, man, this show's really, really losing me. And I think Sarah even said that in our group chat, that the show's really losing me. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting to that point too. I watched this week's episode. It's reeling me back in. There are a couple things that I'm just like, I don't know about this. I don't know if I like this, but it is starting to really reel me back in, because now everything we've seen so far that seems so scatterbrained and every goddamn where is starting to come together. It's starting to act like an actual plot or story now. And I'm excited to see that. Like, before, it seemed like stories of, my dog's so upset, stories of characters just going any and every direction, and we're just going to follow all these characters. Now it seems like they're actually coming together. There's a plot, there's something happening, and everything's going to come into play, which is going to help me out a lot. I'm going to enjoy that. But up until this week, man, I was just about, I was going to watch it, but I was just about ready to give up on really enjoying Doom Patrol. I was like, it's not really, but it's starting to kind of take that turn now. So what do you think, man? I know you love the show.
I love the show because I can't, like, even when you think that you can come up with an idea or a possible plot line, I mean, you're still like a couple blocks away from where you should be. There has to be, you can draw the lines between this and the other shows that we watch when they try to tell subplots, when they try to move some information along. Like, we don't know, like, if Cliff's whole Parkinson's is like a subplot that's going to come back in the end. We don't know, like, what any of these like smaller little items are. Mm-hmm. But what they do is they take them and they bounce around all of these characters, and they do it to a point to where, like, you're constantly like jumping, and you're not sitting in one little scene for too long, and it keeps I don't think it's the ADD part of it that kind of keeps my interest as much as it is just the continuation of each story constantly going. Like, it doesn't feel like, I guess it doesn't feel like 7 episodes. We had so much go on in the first one. It picked right back up off of the last season. We got Laura DeMille right at the end of the first episode. They were completely coming back from where season 2 left you into season 3 to start to tell their story. And what they really did was string it out long enough. I mean, like you said, I mean, you weren't holding on to it for nearly as long, but I mean, the whole entire time, just feed me useless stuff. Just bring it in, because you know what I don't know? It's half of anything about these characters. And I'm loving all of the stuff. I love all the comedy. I mean, this episode had, I don't want to say something reminiscent of, but I mean, we go right back to like the zombie werewolf butts. And this episode had something else that was completely fucking off the wall.
Right.
To a point to where you're just like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But it's a like I'm like I just want to know more because I don't know because I can't plan it out. It's not there's no playbook that I can come up with to see where you can make very general assumptions, but that's really about it. And I love that. I love not knowing, which is complete opposite of my normal day-to-day self, where it's like I
Right.
need to know things or like break something down and rebuild it, um, but I love like letting loose and being able to watch, because when everything is telecast, I just can't. I just lose it.
Yeah, this is definitely the show where I go into it like, okay, I remember what happened last week, but that doesn't fucking matter because something totally different could happen this week, and I have no damn idea where they're going. So, and I don't know, like while that's cool, I guess I like to. I don't want things telegraphed, but I want to have a grasp. Maybe it makes me feel smarter to be able to feel like I understand what's going on. And I think after this episode, I'm finally starting to get that grasp on this season. Like, okay, I see why they did this. I see why they did this. I thought this was stupid and pointless, but now I see why they did this. Everything's starting to come together, you know? Uh, for anybody who has not watched Doom Patrol yet or any of it and is just getting through it, seriously watch the entirety of the story, because it's one of those things that for me, the first season, it took me 5 episodes to really get into it. Love the first season. Second season, not as much. But the way the story was written was really well. Third season, I'm hating so far the way I have no idea what's going on. But now that it's finally starting to come together and I feel like I'm understanding a little more, it makes me feel smarter, and I'm liking it a little more. So it's one of those things that I would say watch it in the entirety, because problems you may have throughout the first few episodes or questions you may have will be answered as it goes on. You've just got to get to that point, and sometimes it feels like a really slow burn.
You get
But
little payoffs,
yeah,
and I think
yeah,
that the little payoffs keep stringing you along, before you even make it to like the end, to where it's like, oh no, here's what you thought you were building the Eiffel Tower, when in reality you were just building a gigantic Black Panther. I don't know. Um, I'm kind of on the opposite end of the way that you described it, because I feel like when I can tell what is going to happen,
mhm,
I don't like it as much, because I'm like, shit, I could have wrote this. I'm like now that I see exactly, I can tell you 3 episodes in that, in like just like how we typically describe like CW shows, like this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. Just wait for it, because at the end, the last 2 episodes, they're going to come together, and then, like you said, the good guys are going to win. Yeah, we know the
right.
good guys are going to win. Clearly, I mean, I'm kind of waiting for the day where they don't. I'm like, oh, that's
Well,
why people got so, we knew shit was going to happen like in Infinity War, but
I was gonna
every
say
single
that's what
person
happened.
left
Yeah.
that movie.
Mhm.
Every person left that movie somber.
No, well, let me tell you something, okay? So me and my wife went and saw it was Infinity War, then Endgame, right? Yeah, we went and saw
Mhm.
Infinity War, and my wife didn't know going in the story, and she was like, "That's the end? Seriously? Like that's it? Nothing else?" And I told her, I said, "It's okay. They all come back next movie. Don't worry. It's gonna be okay." I was like, "There's gonna be a couple major deaths, but they're all gonna come back. Okay, I promise you." Um, and that's the way it is. I think if you're not in this universe, look, there's a rule in the comic book universe. If you don't see the actual death, they're not dead. Period. They're
Yeah.
not dead. If you see the death, there's probably a way they're going to come back one day. Okay, that's just the way the comic book world works. Right? You've got to go with it. You've got to live with it. We don't we don't want characters to not be able to die, because then stakes are never real.
Mhm.
And then it's like, well, what the fuck am I reading? I know the good guys are always going to win, but at the same time, you don't want to lose beloved characters. Now, granted, bringing characters back in the comics like Hawkeye, like that, okay, why waste your time on that? I'm not a huge Hawkeye fan. I mean, he's nothing against him, but just nothing that drew me to him. I can shoot a bow and arrow, not that good, but I can shoot a bow and arrow. You know,
That's
um,
what I'm talking about with these shows. I could have
yeah,
write that, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. I feel you. Um, But yeah, I mean, the predictability of a show definitely depends, or definitely determines, the likability of the show, I feel. And I think that has to do with how entrenched you are in the universe or in the storytelling genre. Because I think the average person may not be able to look at that and tell what's going to happen,
Mhm.
whereas somebody like you or I may. But
So when it comes to like our CW shows, I take that knowing it. It's basically when I see the CW stamp, I'm like, okay, like I expect that, and I think that when you have Doom Patrol on HBO and it has a rating of TVMA, I want the craziness. I want the weird, and we got that right off the bat.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you have Larry straight up biff a tumor, and this thing was like a straight up larva just coming out of him. I don't know that if any of us would have made a guess or an assumption on what was going to come out of Larry, that would have been it, because we were all kind of like between the neck tumor and everything else. Like, what's it actually going to be? I didn't see that coming. And I don't know where it's going to go either.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, they've definitely, I think, honestly, that's a storyline they're laying out for next season. To be honest with you, I think that's the plot line they're laying out to go into the next season, because they
which
tend to
I
do that a little
love.
bit, Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good writing. It's good writing. Give us a snippet of something, an idea of something to go into the next season. But I could be wrong. It could be something that this larvae, whatever it was, he threw 16-pound worm, whatever it was he threw up, could be what saves us from the eternal flatulent, which
Comes out the very end as a butterfly and just straight up, like, I don't know, consumes all the smaller face moths or bats or whatever, birds,
Yeah.
whatever they are.
It's fucking weird, man. It's really, really weird. My question is, like, okay, so diving into the episode now, what Rita has gone back in time.
Mm-hmm.
She is part of the Sisterhood of the Dada. She does not go back into the future. However, whenever they're, what's her name? You knew my ex stepmom Joyce. Like this lady reminds me of Joyce. I think that's why I hate her so much. She whenever she's doing having the flashback, Rita is the one that comes out with the mask. How the fuck does that happen? Like, they don't explain it. They don't even dabble on it. Nothing. It's just she's there all of a sudden. How the fuck does that happen?
Well, without going into the whole predicament of like two Ritas existing at the same space and time, I guess when the one goes back, she finally comes out. But I don't know where all these people are. None of them age, which, I mean, Rita has not been aging anyway ever since she kind of turned into the blob.
Right.
So I don't have a good answer for that. I don't know. Did it feel off? Yes, but in a show that is so crazy as this, I mean, like, it fell off, but at the same time, like, well, I can't question it, because if I start questioning now, I go down a deep, dark hole and I may never crawl back out of it. So
yeah, I agree. That's that point where you've got to suspend belief in what's going on and realize that, Cyborg says in this episode that he can melt a armored tank in 3 seconds with his cannon on his arm. Well, why the fuck don't you win every battle you're in then? Seriously. Yeah. If you have something that can do that, why don't you win every single battle you're in? You should be the man that wins just melt everything. But
I've always liked the idea of him being a part of it, because it seems to be like the stuff that they face is something that is like not something he can just, shoot his way out of. All of this stuff, like giant eyes in the sky, and like all of these things that they come in contact with and end up like, now it's fog and like things that they don't even know how or what exist.
Yeah,
so I mean, if you have talk about the flyers, like all those flyers started showing up too, on Cliff's shirt. Actually, the flyers showed up in the underground.
Very, very strange. Yes.
And I was like, like, how do you get something in there? But then again, don't ask too many questions before you start going down that place.
Right. Well, 2 more things I want to talk about. And then I think we fit all my notes. One, the Jane storyline with Kay. Do you feel like maybe Jane's kind of in a self-fulfilling prophecy here, where everything you've done to prevent something is what caused it. You know, I feel like her letting Kay out into the real world is what's causing her to, quote unquote, grow up, have that teenage attitude, maybe start to rebel against whatever or whatever Jane tells her, because she even says in this episode, "Stop treating me like I'm a child." You know, do you think that maybe her letting her out to do that, to understand the world and see that there's more than what I just see here, is actually what's causing her to turn away from Jane?
I could say that that is part of it. I think if to discuss that, I would probably be more in line to say that she is like uncomfortably scared in that scenario. Like, you know, she went up, she doesn't understand things, you know, now she goes back down, and like her stuff's being stolen, like she's losing control of like her own little space that she created.
Mhm.
But I think the larger issue with Jane is the fact that she no longer has a major antagonist. The dad scenario was you know, fleshed out, and like her desire, well, I guess her need to stay in her room and under not lock and key, but you know, security from like the rest of the personalities. I think that is now, you know, I mean, it's the breakout point. Like, what do you do now that you don't have that thing pushing back against you? So
Right. She's either going to become the character that she is meant to be, or have another storyline to hold her back, I guess, that we haven't
yeah,
seen yet. Yeah. So
and so you're gonna have a little bit of I mean, you know, the pissed off teenager, yeah, you know, because I mean now you can actually show growth. And I think that's like, you know, we all talked about last week. You know, the scary thing is that all these personalities have the potential to disappear, because who knows what's going to happen.
all right. That and the actor can only stay young for so long. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
you've
right.
got to grow with the actor, I guess. So, all right. Last question I had about Doom Patrol. Cyborg, man. Ross, if you had everything Cyborg has, and granted, I get it. I haven't been through the whole I killed my mother, and I'm a cyborg now instead of a human. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I haven't experienced that. I feel like if I had a cyborg body with the grid and all the abilities, even if it was like a Kmart suit like he's wearing, I would not want to give that up. Like, but once again, I'm not in that position, so it's hard for me to say that for sure. I just think on face value, there's no way I could give that up. Look, he's giving up the difference between being a hero because he was talking to his girlfriend, whatever, I can't remember her name, about this whole situation, and she was kind of giving him hell about giving it up. You're giving up being a superhero to be a hero, and heroes, one, are usually not remembered, and two, usually don't make a huge difference. They may do great things. I'm not knocking any heroes. They may do great things, but superheroes are the ones who are remembered, who survive, who win the battles. Like, I just don't understand why Cyborg would want to give this up, and obviously he's not going to now. But just you personally, man, you got a plasma cannon on your arm. You can, charge any time. You got the grid. You can access any point in the internet, anywhere you want to. You giving that up? I'm not.
There's always that question that comes along with superheroes, and that's because there's typically two types.
Mhm.
You got the ones that can go home at the end of the day and live their alternate persona.
Mhm.
But then you got the ones who can't, like the ones who can't take off their, whatever physical issues that they have, or not issues, but whatever the physicalities are that they can't remove in order, like they are constantly the person that they are. Cyborg would be one of them in this scenario. Cyborg can't just turn off everything that he has on him. It is completely visible, whereas his scars are completely on the outside, fully exposed for everyone to see.
Mhm.
And every coming of age for a superhero or oddity story always comes with that, and it is, what is it going to take for you to be comfortable in your own skin?
Right.
So I mean, you're right. Would I get rid of it? I mean, fuck no. I mean, you fall into a bat of golden shit. I mean, you're gonna take it and run. But at the same time, but Vic's still like 20 something, right? You know, so I mean, here you are as a
I'd
20
imagine
year
so.
old,
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah.
as a 20-year-old, really trying to figure your stuff out.
I just don't get it. Like I get the mindset, and I get, like I said, I'm not trying to downplay. Like I get it. You're the situation with your mom and everything happened, but you giving up this stuff is not going to change that. It's not going to bring that back or fix anything. So
He doesn't see that yet.
you're right.
That's what
You're
they're
right. And
trying to show.
it could just be the kid. Yeah, and obviously with him not being in the operating room when they were about to do that, that's not going to happen. So, well, it could.
And they're probably just trying to sideline him because, you know, I mean, once again, I said this, I think last time you stepped away. Stop leaving Cliff alone. The man cannot be left alone.
No, definitely.
Every
Especially with the credit card.
time something happens.
Yeah.
Here he is. You know, I mean, clearly, I don't remember his daughter's wife's name, but I don't like, she's just sitting there like, you know, seeing the handshake, and she's like, yeah, I don't think so. And the daughter's like, no, let's just run down the street. You know, we got to give a little so that, you know, we don't destroy my dad's brain or whatever else. But don't leave him alone, and then don't leave him alone with the kid. How long did it take? That man is destroying that house. He's turning around. He's already, he's going to steal something. But at the same time, it's just like, stop. Who can't see this?
I think it's a general rule of thumb. You don't leave any guy alone with a credit card and the internet. You know, like it's the credit card, the internet, and the ability to do whatever he wants to do. You just don't leave any guy alone with that. It's just not going to work, and it's not going to end well. So
when we talk about, so Cliff is actually a golden scenario for that whole, like, not being able to take your I guess you can call it your uniform for being a superhero off. So that man's, you know, constantly engaged as being robot man. So if Cliff can never take off his superhero persona, you know, I mean, like, he's being driven mad, but he was decapitated. His brain was messed around with, you know, like his body's all
he's been through
screwed
a
up.
lot. Yeah, I'll give him that. He's definitely been through a lot. So
I mean, if I was that man, I don't know if I'd be doing all Parkinson's pills, but, you know, I'd be living a pretty high life myself.
Well, and I think there's a difference between him and Cyborg. Like, I think maybe they're going to play that out in this show. Is like, you know, look, granted, neither one of you have the choice to do what you're going to do, but look at you versus me.
Yeah,
you know, you could be a whole lot worse. I feel like Cliff could say, but I don't know, man. We'll see.
Cliff, I mean, he always comes back with something smart to say, even though if it sounds completely stupid and like an asinine way to get to from B to A. But
dude, and him and Jane in a room together is just perfection. Just perfection, man. Like, those two are so great together. It's insane. Actually, you could throw Cyborg in there too. Throw Cyborg in there with those three together. Just great, man. Absolutely fucking love it.
My favorite joke of this whole entire episode was from Larry. When, you know, after
the Costco one?
Yeah.
I was like,
have you been in any abnormal atmospheres? I don't know. I went to a Costco for the first time last week. I was sitting there thinking, like, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. I think it was the abnormal gal or whatever she said. I can't remember how she described it, but the abnormality.
The trip to the galaxy. Yeah.
I think Larry's story is for next season. I think they're setting it up. I think this season was big about Rita. Last season was big about Jane and Niles, and this season's going to be big. This season was
pretty big about Larry. I mean, it was a totally pretty good story with the spirit. It just took a while.
There's been a good little bit of Larry in every season, but we haven't gotten like a full story where he's the main guy. Like, he's kind of a background story. Whatever's happening with Larry is going on aside from
really just Larry.
Yeah, aside from the rest of the crew, you know. So. But yeah, you know, we got a few more episodes of Doom Patrol left. It's going to be good stuff. This show, you know, Sarah told me she's starting to lose interest in this show, and I can't wait to hear her opinion on it and why. But I'm not going to lie. I felt kind of the same way she did going into this episode. This episode started to pull me back in. I'm hoping that next episode we're going to see a little more with his eternal flatulent and the sister of the Dada and find out
flagellant. The word is flagellant. I
Find
loved
out
how they
all
pointed
this
that out
stuff-
too, because
yeah.
they kept on saying it wrong.
Yeah. Find out how all this stuff ties together. It's gonna be good. It's a very, very interesting show. Once again, if you haven't seen any of it yet, watch every season to its entirety, because I know that give season 2 finale kind of a pass, because I know they were hit with COVID, so they didn't end the exact way they wanted to. But the stories all come together towards the end, and it makes a lot more sense. So, well, let's talk about the only finale this week. The season 3 finale of Titans.
Go ahead and lay it on me.
Man, I saw all kinds of stuff on the internet, on Twitter and everything else, about how, another episode of Titans, another finale, another season. Blah. And I was like, oh, please don't do that to me. And I watched it today for the first time. And I'm not going to lie, they did it again. They did it again, man. They had a finale that was like a filler episode, one of the most boring episodes of the season. There was no action. It was very anticlimactic. I love this show. I really do. I love the costumes. I love the castings. I love all this stuff. But there are still so many problems with this show. It's insane, man. Like, I've got a list here, and we're gonna go down them. But once again, I do love Titans. I'm there for season 4. It's a great show. 90% of the show is a great show. They just have such a hard time wrapping it all up and having a great finale. Like, you don't kill Deathstroke with one guy. You don't end this season with no battle scene. And I'll give them a pass for the first season. COVID, I give them a pass. Okay. So the beginning of season 2 was supposed to be the end of season 1. All right. So
Was
that was the way
COVID related?
I'm pretty sure
I
it
thought that
was.
wasn't, and that's why I kind of had a bigger problem with it. So I felt like
Maybe.
that all
I'm not
kind of
sure.
happened
I
beforehand.
could be wrong. Very well could be wrong. I'm like that a lot. I'm wrong a lot. But no, dude, this season, while I had my issues with some of the things that went on, I have that with every show I watch. There's some issues about something. I was still in it. And I was really expecting them to hit a home run in the finale. And it was just so boring, man. I was sitting there watching, and I was like, all right, when's the moment? When's the moment where I'll be like, holy shit, this is happening? And it never came. And then the season ended, and I just got left with nothing. And I'm so upset, because, like I said, I'm there for season 4. But man, come on, guys. You knew the last 2 seasons people were disappointed with the finale. Fucking knock that shit out of the park, man.
We got told that they were going to finish strong.
Well, here's the thing: is there's episodes in this season that are amazing that I love. The first 3 episodes of this season were great. I loved it. I was like, oh hell yeah, here we go, Titans, let's do it. Why can't you make the finale like that? Like, why can't you do it? It just it blows my mind. There was not one fight scene. Excuse me, there was one. Nightwing did mess up a few guys in Wayne Manor. That's the only fight scene in this. It's like, come on, guys. This is a finale. There's one small fight scene. It just... Titans.
If you had to pick
Come on.
one of your biggest disappointments, and you think that would be the reason, what do you think what would you hold it to be? I'll tell you mine. You can think about yours if you
Okay,
unless
good.
you're ready.
Tell me yours. Yeah.
I was completely unsatisfied with the Scarecrow angle. I thought that they could have gone full psycho. Once again, I am watching a show on HBO Max. It is TVMA, and every single time I watch Titans, like you said, the beginning of the series or season really started off pretty strong, and it was giving me hope because it laid the groundwork for a potential story that could have been really good. And I think that the best part that we got out of Crane was probably like we're smack dab in the middle of all of this. And I hate that. I hate that you were going to turn. They did the same thing kind of with Red Hood. They completely cut him off of the knees really early on when they turned what's his name?
Jason.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When they turned Jason into a punk when they rely too heavily on the drug, and they basically turn him into a straight punk. And when they did that, I thought that that was going to lead to a better Scarecrow story, and it did not.
Right.
So my biggest disappointment was where they took that and what little they did with it.
Mm-hmm. You know, I before you mentioned that, that's actually the first thing that came to my mind was Scarecrow. I liked the character. I liked the casting at the beginning of the season. I liked his mindset. I liked, the kind of mind fuckery he was playing with everybody. Enjoyed that. I don't like a character that once he's one-on-one with anybody in the universe, other than Jason Todd, which blew my mind, that he could make Jason Todd run away with a scythe at the end of a chain. But anybody else that comes in there could just take him out, no problem, and he'd have nothing to defend himself. And it bothered me that the big bad, while I understand the big bad being a big mind, I'm okay with that story. But the big bad as a big mind needs to have a better plan than Crane did in this one. And you're right, about halfway through the season, that character really started to fall off. I think once the face cutting went on, I think I could deal with that character until the point where he got the delivery guy and he murdered him, and then the face cutting. Like when he went full psycho, quote unquote, it just didn't work for me, man. And you know what? Maybe the starting point was when he killed his mom. Maybe that's a better starting point. Like that moment, I guess, was when he was supposed to snap in this series, but he just wasn't intimidating to me. Like
he never came out super hardcore. He never brought he never put on his game face or his war face.
Mm-hmm.
It really left a lot to be a lot. They just left a lot on the table again.
Yeah.
I know, dead body, but still. When he cut up his face, I thought like this could be the moment to where like he straight up loses it. Like if he's gonna go and just straight up, slash his stuff up. I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I got no problem. Well, clearly, I got a problem shaving, but like I got no problem like taking a blade to the face and cleaning something up. But I mean, he straight up just
clean fucking cuts too, because they were healed up and didn't bleed at all. So yeah, clean cuts,
which is amazing. There's a lot of things that are unexplained in this whole entire thing, and this is not a show that I suspend as much with as I do with Doom Patrol, because Doom Patrol is just way too over the top. I don't understand how he got the whole entire GCPD on his side.
Right.
Like out of nowhere, they were straight up blind faith to a new allegiance. Were they all on drugs? I don't feel like we ever got like this, like a story for that. But here is every GCPD officer just like, we stand with you, and guns, straight up, full on riot gear, everything. I'm like, none of this makes sense.
Oh yeah, I agree. There were a lot of things done wrong with this episode, and it's just so irritating because I wanted them to stick the landing so bad. Let me run through my list of just quarrels that I have. That I was just like, I saw this and I was like, oh, it made me cringe. Okay, Tim Drake. I like the idea of bringing Tim Drake in. I like him as a Robin. I like the character. I like the actor who plays him. I think he does a good job. I could see him as Tim Drake. No problem. I don't like the fact that they made him a complete pussy the entire season. No training, no nothing. All he has is his own little lair, but he has no training, nothing, okay? Then all of a sudden, he's walking behind Donna while she's getting shot at from 25 different directions, with these weapons. And nobody thinks to shoot her feet, by the way, but she's holding a door up, walking, and her feet are exposed. 2.5 feet of her feet are exposed. So that bothered me. But then he lays one really sorry-ass drop kick down on a guy, which I don't know how he did that without getting shot, but he laid one sorry-ass drop kick down, and all of a sudden everybody's like, you've proven yourself. You are good. You're ready for this. I'm like, dude, he laid one sorry-ass lucky drop kick down. Like
that he learned
didn't do
from
anything
YouTube.
to earn this role at all. You could have had him the whole season showing him training, showing him with the motivation to be this person, showing him with some kind of athletic skills, and you didn't. And then all of a sudden in one episode, he drop kicks a guy, and he's ready to be a Titan. It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Whose parents just let their kid go? whose parents are like, you saw something on YouTube and it turned you into a pro. Go be a hero.
Right.
No.
Right. It doesn't happen like that. The turn was too quick. I love the idea of Tim Drake bringing the third Robin in there. Like, I love that idea. And like I said, the actor's great. I like him as that. I can see him as Tim Drake. No problem. They just really botched this story. Really, really bad.
Plant seeds or build a character. And they didn't do anything.
Right. Yep. I agree.
You had two good choices on the table.
Yep.
Plant the seeds for the next season for him to be, start next season training, or train him this episode or this season and let's see it happen.
Well, the way they set it up pissed me off too, because they bring Batman back at the end of this series, which, okay, I knew Batman wasn't going to, he was going to be back eventually. Now you're taking Tim Drake to be a Titan? No, Tim Drake is Robin trained under Batman in Gotham. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see what they do with it.
I think they're doing that to keep Batman out of the story.
They are. That's what
So if they're gonna give Tim Drake training, which clearly, I mean, if he's gonna go with the Titans, he's gonna get training. Still, though, some people got it and some people don't. Yeah, I'm not really feeling like he's the one that has it.
Not saying he can't have it, but right now he doesn't have it. I agree.
But if they leave him with Batman, then you got to keep telling a Batman story, and I don't think they want to keep telling a Batman story. I think they wanted to, put their feet in the water with that. So,
which, speaking of Batman, that's my next point here that I was irritated about. At this point, everybody has to know Bruce Wayne is Batman, right?
They know who everyone else is.
They know who everyone else is. They everybody has to know who Batman is Bruce Wayne. They've had broadcasts from the fucking Wayne Manor in the Batcave. Everybody has to know Bruce Wayne comes back and all of a sudden he's just going to be Batman again and nobody knows who Batman is. I didn't like that. They really botched that story with the identity. I don't like what's going on in the future. I guess secret identities don't mean anything in the DC universe anymore, which is bullshit because they really do. In the DC universe, they don't mean anything in the Marvel universe, but I get that. That's your play. That's the way you go, no problem. But in the DC universe, they mean something. So that bothered me. Donna with the electricity, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that was
first of all, the fact that you killed her last season with electricity from a fucking carnival ride, and she died from that. Now she's lasso roping fucking thunderbolts, and she's not dying. And by the way, there's no explanation. She says, I got this, or whatever.
Grounding rod.
Said. Yeah.
I mean, that's all that she was trying to do was quit to focus the lightning away from burning up all this stuff.
But it gave no explanation of why she was able to withstand this now, but not then. It's come on, man. They even joked about it in this series about her dying from that. And then they just go right fucking back to it.
And the look on her face was a joke too when she was doing it,
Yes. I'm come on, y'all. Seriously.
She's ready to make those Thor babies, dude.
Yeah. I could see some Donna Troy and then Thor and some babies. Be a beautiful breed. Anyway, Superboy. Last episode we left, he was fucking pissed at Dick Grayson. Understandably so. Nothing said between the two. All of a sudden, they're just working together. No problem.
No, yeah.
And they
squashed the beef.
They did mention it one time. You're like, hey, I know that you did this fucked up shit to me, but right now there's bigger things. Let's just deal with that. We're still brothers, right? Get the fuck out of here. The way you pissed and moaned last episode about it and threw a fit about it, there's no way you're just like, oh, it's okay. We'll get over it this episode. That pissed me off. The last 2 episodes were rushed. The last 2 episodes should have been the last 4 episodes, to be truly honest with you.
Dude, that would have been fine if they turned the first 3 episodes into the whole season.
I agree. The whole series about Red Hood. I agree. Mm-hmm. Starfire and Blackfire story bothered the fuck out of me because we were sold this bill that we got a little bit of Starfire or Blackfire last season, excuse me, and how she was going to be a big part of next season, and she was a big part of this season, but a really big pointless part that doesn't progress the story forward. I mean, if you're gonna have her go back to Tamarin after this season, then what the fuck was the point of her story? Seriously, other than to flesh out Blackfire a little bit, what was the point of her story? Like, it just seemed pointless. It seemed too pushed, too contrived for filler. Contrived for filler. Yes, that's what it was.
They kept trying for I kept trying for the family thing, and I felt like you could have gotten rid of both Starfire and Blackfire and just put Vin Diesel in there and have him say family every 10 seconds.
One time, exactly.
And
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
family.
I'm not gonna lie,
All
man.
right.
I would have taken 3 more episodes of Raven and given up this Blackfire Starfire story. I was excited about the Blackfire Starfire story, but if you told me that it was going to come to absolutely nothing in the end, then why? What
Yep.
the fuck? Like, who cares? But yeah, man, all those things bother me about this episode. That and the fact, like I said, that there was one quick battle where Dick Grayson beats the shit out of everybody in the room, except the one guy that has the gun to his head. Okay.
Mhm.
And for some reason, the one guy that has the gun to his head, instead of pulling the trigger when he has the clear shot, stops to talk to Dick. And it's like, why? Like, why? You know that's bad for you. And then Dick has the time to turn around, throw a robin rang, I guess you'd call it. Because it's not a batarang, it's a robin rang.
It's a Nighterang.
Nighterang? Oh yeah, Nighterang. There you go. Into the gun, into the barrel of the guy who had the gun against him before he could pull a trigger. I'm like, that's really poorly written. Really, really poorly written. But I don't know about you, but for me, when I have a red dot on somebody and they're turned around, the second they make any kind of move that looks like they're turning around, I'm pulling the trigger.
Yep.
Like, I can pull that trigger faster than you can turn around. That's all I'm saying. So,
And then when you're decked out in that gear with a tactical assault rifle, you should know what your trigger time is.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, it's just really, really poorly written. We know they're coming back for a 4th season, which is once again fine because I do like the story. I love the suits. I love the characters. I love the feel of this universe. I just hate that they can't fucking stick a landing. Like, Deathstroke should not be dead. And if he is, he should have been dead fighting 7 people, fighting the entire Titans, not just Nightwing. Trigon, like, defeated very easily. And then just at the end, Crane just was not a good villain. Like, in a season where you have the Joker get killed, Crane should not be the big bad.
Not unless you're gonna take him full TVMA. Show me fucking crazy.
Yes.
I don't know why we can't push past the bar here because I feel like we're still wading in the kiddie pool. The Titans are growing up. They're no longer teens. Why can't we do some adult shit?
I think they're still trying to cater to that younger crowd, to be honest with you. Because, like, look, I showed.
Am I going to get an adult TV show? Like I don't need like straight up like. The only thing that like made this whole entire season,
it's all about
TVMA
money,
was a single nipple.
It's all about money. It's all about money, dude. That's all it ever is. It's like I showed my daughter. She's 14. I showed her the first episode of Titans, and while there were some really cool stuff that I could show her, there were a couple times where I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if you remember the first episode, the first appearance of Robin, where he fucks those guys up in the alley. It's pretty brutal. Yeah. Like, it's pretty brutal, but at the same time, I was like, I mean, it's right on that borderline of where I'd want my 14-year-old to be able to watch, but at the same time, she's 14. If she wants to watch it, she's gonna watch it. Like, they're gonna find a way.
I am fine with that kind of. I'm fine.
I'm too. I am too. I don't think that, just giving you my parenting views, I don't think that season 1, the first episode, even seeing Dick Grayson bust a window and take a guy's face and slam it in the window and then drag it across that fucking, I get it. But I personally don't think that's too bad for a 14-year-old to watch. It's right on that edge. It's right on that borderline. But dude, she's going to be driving next year,
Until we hit the episode with the boob in it. I mean, that was Like this season didn't do a whole lot other than like play mind games and talk about, fake drugs.
Mhm. Which really surprises me with all the TVMA stuff that DC puts out, that there's not a lot of nudity. Not saying like, oh God, I want to see some boobs. Like, but it's surprising is generally whenever you get that MA rating, that's like the first go-to. There's going to be a little bit
For
of
most
nudity in there.
shows.
Yeah. So,
I
but
don't
hey,
know. I'm looking for Doom Patrol has no limits,
right.
and
You could see anything anytime in Doom Patrol.
yeah,
You could
like
see full frontal male. Next episode,
Doom
we don't even know.
Patrol is a hard no,
Yeah,
like
for kids.
for kids.
Yeah.
But Titans, Titans should be like, like a later teenager thing, like why wouldn't you want to be 16, like 16 and up? I mean, there's a whole lot, so many more people that are 16 and up in this world than there are 16 and below that are able to watch this stuff. I mean, CW clearly makes their bread and butter off of like a younger crowd per se. But
Well, you got to remember too, in a lot of other countries, they consider 16 an adult.
Sure.
So, I mean, America's different, but I don't know, man. I'm here for season 4. I hope that they have a 250 batting average is pretty good. I hope that when season 4 comes out, they can have the best season finale ever, and I'm like, oh, it's all worth it. It's all worth it now. But based on the track record, I just have a pretty good feeling I'm gonna like about 90% of next season. And that's going to be about it. I don't know what their issue is with sticking landings, but Titans cannot do it, man. I don't know how anybody could look at this episode after it was filmed and be like, that was exciting. There was nothing exciting about this at all. Everything went exactly to plan for all the heroes. There was no action. Like,
dude, the episode title, it was
Purple
called
Rain,
Purple Rain. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, well, they're not going to play the song. So then I have a pretty good idea of what they're going to do. And they did exactly what I thought that they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it to a point where I'm like, damn it.
Right.
Why?
Right.
But I mean, it does.
It's irritating.
It's twofold because it does get rid of, something that mystically showed up by Ra's al Ghul that we finally figured out in the last episode. He just had planted there at, did it say at Crane's request? Yeah. I don't know. But
no, he said that Ra's was going to do that originally I can't remember. They explained it had nothing to do with Crane. Crane just found out about that place there. Okay. So,
yeah. I don't know.
Titans, we got a whole another year, probably at least 9 months before we see you again.
Probably.
By then, I will have forgotten about how disappointing this finale was, and I will hop on to season 4 because it's what I do. But
I'm only going to remember Jason Todd's password. That's all I'm going to remember. 42069.
Yeah, good number to have. So. No, you know what? I really do hope that next season they bring Jason Todd in as Red Hood as a bigger part of the series, because that character and that costume were awesome. Like, I would love to do this Halloween costume. Badass costume. Loved it. But yeah, Titans, man. Fucking step it up, dude. Seriously. Last episode of the season, people are looking for it. Fucking blow us out of the water. Jesus, I just don't get it. Somebody looked at it and said, oh, it's going to fucking knock the socks off. How could you look at that and say that? All right.
I don't want to compare it to other shows from other universes.
Different universes. Go ahead.
But there's so many of these shows that just, they leave me sitting there.
Right.
And they invoke the very opposite feeling as other shows that I watch.
Right.
And I'm sad, because there's so much you can do, and I don't even need it all to be in the same universe. Like, I can respect a whole lot of difference, but I just want better.
Right.
I don't know if it's because they keep doing, I don't know how much actually, because I have not looked this up. I don't know how much Titans changes directors. Do they keep a director for a whole season or a whole series?
I'm not sure. I know
Question-
CW
questions
shows
for the
usually
future.
change directors every episode, but I'm not sure
Right.
about HBO Max shows.
So I mean, like that's something
yeah.
that I've taken into account with like CW shows, and that's how I know that they're more serial dramas. Is that that's what they want to do? They want to tell different stories each time.
Mhm.
Keep like minor arcs together. They're essentially pulling the cartoon game, and it can be something that the whole series or season's building up to, like Titans. But each thing has its own little break. I don't think that there's enough. Maybe there's not enough side stories because what they told with Rachel and Donna essentially got one episode.
Maybe 40 minutes the entire series. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, like,
Although you
it
did
could
see
have.
they gave Rachel the actual Raven
Yeah,
look with the little peekaboo cleavage and all that stuff. Yeah, so
dude, and they came out straight up. She straight up tortured Crane. Which, look, okay, but I mean, like, are we going to do that? Like, is that going to be the new thing? Like, when the bad people go crazy and we finally get them, we're going to send them into torture for like the rest of their lives. Because I mean, I can be on board with it, but if you're going to go dark, you
Go
better
dark.
go dark the whole time.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I don't see how you invoke that last little thing they did with Raven at the end with torturing Crane, and you can't take Jason back into the Titans.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
They did
really? Like,
exactly what I
don't get me
thought they were going
wrong,
to do with Jason.
what he did was fucked up. I'm not disagreeing with that. But you're gonna torture this guy and you're not gonna take him back? It's like,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, he'll be back. Red Hood will be a part of next season. Like, the characters casting is great, the character's great. They're not gonna get rid of that character. And they made him a good guy towards the end of the season for a reason,
Mhm.
But I don't know, man. Titans just I will say this. I am on Twitter for the purpose of promoting the podcast, looking at the news, all kinds of stuff like that. And, I flip through people's opinions and comments and stuff. And I will say to everybody out there that I know for a fact has followed The Flash, Arrow, what's the other, God, what's the other show? Supergirl. What's the team up show on about the time
Legends.
traveler? Legends Tomorrow. If you followed all that for its entirety, and you can literally post something about how fuck Titans, I'm done with this, blah blah blah, and you follow that shit, get the fuck out of here. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. Because even though Titans has had 3 bad finales now, the 90% of Titans you've gotten over the 3 seasons has been better than 95% of whatever you've seen on Arrow or Flash after season 1 or 2, or that whole CW universe, period, point blank. And once again, it's my opinion, so I could be wrong about this, or it's just my opinion. But yeah, like I would watch Titans over and over and over again before I watched anything after season 2 of Flash, season 3 of Arrow, or honestly, any other CW show. To be truly honest with you. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's my opinion, but for me, to y'all, like I would say on C3, ice the fuck up. Like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. That's all I gotta say. I've seen a
I
lot of
understand where
hate.
you're coming from.
Yeah, I've seen a
But
lot of hate. If you don't like it,
90% is a
don't
little
watch
high.
it. Yeah. All right, man. Well, you got anything else you want to say about Titans? It's over. We're not gonna talk about it for at least a year. So, or 9 months, something like that. Cool. Well, let's talk about the big deal this week. Let's talk about Dune. I have never seen anything about Dune at all in my life. Never seen the original, never knew any of the lore, any of the characters, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I had a chance to watch both the original and the reboot. I did not watch the original. I just watched the reboot because I had a pretty good feeling that no matter how much I watched the original and liked it, because I had no nostalgic ties to it, the reboot was going to be superior and the original was just going to be garbage no matter what. Now, granted, I'm going to go back and watch it. I could be wrong. I'm like that a lot. I'm wrong a lot. But I have a feeling that based on what I've seen and based on how I feel about what I've seen, that the original is not going to even hold a candle to what I've seen in the last day. Spoilers, I really, really liked Dune. I was very scared when I walked into it. Not scared. Very concerned when I walked into it because I knew nothing about it, and especially through the first 20 minutes of it, like I have no fucking idea what's going on. I'm gonna get lost in these characters. I'm gonna get lost in these worlds. I'm gonna have to watch this a few times before I really understand it. But then I thought about it. First time I saw Star Wars the same way. First time I saw Hunger Games, Lord of the Rings, I knew nothing about it. Other than little things I'd read, I had to learn as I went. By the end of the movie, my fears were gone. I completely understood where I was, where they were going, and I'm excited to see more. So for me, this movie was a home run. I really, really enjoyed it. We're going to dive deeper into it, but Ross, I want to know what is your opinion of this movie?
I saw the original, and I want to hear your take on it before I go into too much about the original. But I will tell you that even though I saw the original multiple times as a kid, I don't know, I still kind of always thought it was corny because of certain parts about it, and I'll explain those later on. But I can tell you, this is almost a shot-for-shot remake.
Oh, wow.
And I was not sad about it.
Okay. That's good to know.
My disappointment came from the fact that we were billed a Dune movie, and 2 weeks ago it got spoiled for me and a lot of other people that watch the particular show that we're only getting Dune Part 1.
Oh, no.
And no, not only.
Oh,
but
okay.
only right now.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, no, they're not going to continue this?
Oh, no. This
still my heart.
This was too good to not continue. But what I'm saying
I agree. Yeah.
we were billed a full movie, and I never heard through anything other than like 2 weeks ago that we were only getting the Part 1 to begin with. We were not getting the full movie right off the bat. And so I know what happens for the rest of the story unless they change it. There's nothing saying that Part 2 is going to be a shot for shot, but with Part 1 being a shot for shot, it completely took a story and made it 2021. Right. I mean, it made it 2021-20, I mean, like futuristic as fuck. But like I'm definitely interested in knowing. Give me a basic rundown, and then as you get to certain points, like I'll bring up what they did in the past, and also contribute like what I thought was cool.
Okay. So first question off the bat, the OG movie is a Part 1 and Part 2. I wasn't aware of that, and although I really, really enjoyed what they did here, I was fully expecting that by the end of this movie, that was all you have seen in the original, because I know there was only one original movie. I didn't know that they had separated it into two stories. I did like that whenever I first saw it, that as soon as it opened up, it said Part 1. So I was like, well, that's good. That means that there's going to be more parts to it. And I actually had a friend at work that was a big, big Dune fan of the original movie. And he was telling me today, whenever I told him, I was like, yeah, I saw the reboot. I really, really liked it. He hadn't seen it yet. I told him, like, go watch it. If you like the original, I was like, I'm pretty sure you'll like this one because this one was pretty damn good. I don't know how comparable they are, but I really, really enjoyed this movie. And he was telling me the same thing about Warner Brothers and how they're not having the second movie, hasn't been announced yet, which really, really blew my mind. I can't understand why, with a movie of this magnitude, that I feel like there's been money put into this movie. Like with the actors that were in it, with the CGI that was in it, with just the overall storyboard, there's been money put into this movie. And I know Warner Brothers is very, very strange, at least from my experiences and what they do with the future of their movies. They just want to base their movies off of the results and like the views, and they'll actually temper movies down and cut movies to fit more theater times and stuff like that. And I just don't want Warner Brothers to do that to this series, because like I said, I didn't know the first movie, the OG, was a two-parter. So when I saw this was part 1, I'm like, oh well, okay, that's one. Now from here on out, we're all gonna see a new story. But apparently that's not true. Like so the first OG movie is 2 parts,
It's one movie,
but
but
it's
this was half of that movie.
okay. Okay. So how long was the first
So
movie, the OG movie?
That must be about the same, about 2.5 hours.
Okay, so they went more in depth with this one then, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So what they did was, and I don't know that I would be under the complete assumption that it is cheaper to shoot 2 movies at one time
I would
than
agree.
it is to shoot just one.
Mhm.
So I would assume that they have already shot all of it and that the rest of it is not talked about. I don't know that. I'm only making that assumption based on what I know about from stories and everything else. The original, let me think about this. The last movie came out in 1984.
Great year.
It was
Great
the
effing year. That's when I was born.
that was the David Lynch. That's who directed that one.
Okay.
And this one was done by Denis Villeneuve, or however you say his last name. But the books came out in like 65. The book came out in 65. The book is very, very heavy in internal dialogue and dialogue, really. So when you see the actual old movie, you get a bunch of, well, you notice in this movie every time that they do sign language, that's how they turned internal dialogue on its head in this movie, is they turned it into doing sign language
Right.
rather than just talking in like the head, because
Or the voice. Right.
yeah, all of that is so different in the original, and it's very corny because I mean it's very old. It's 1984,
Mhm.
And it wasn't the first time this movie was attempted to be made. The whole reason that they used Hans Zimmer used that Pink Floyd bit for the actual song
Mhm.
was because when they tried to make the movie, I think it was in the mid 70s, they wanted to use that song, and they were trying to proposition Pink Floyd for the rights to actually put that into the movie they were trying to make. That version of the movie never came to light. What they actually came out with in 1984 was it was so dense with dialogue, and I was afraid of how they were going to do that in this one. And so when they swapped to the sign language thing, it worked out perfect. They did that with so many different things, but they did it, like I said, in a way that was a shot for shot remake. All of the characters that you have, you never saw the original, so you don't know any of the other faces, but only one of them looks drastically different. That's because they switched from a male to a female
Mhm.
in the casting from the old to the new.
And which character is that?
That is the, who was that? Max von Sydow played, I'm not going to forget it because he's a Star Wars guy. Played the, I can't remember the black woman's name. I can't remember his character.
Oh, I know you're talking about the judge. What's her name? The judge of the judge of the change.
Yeah.
That you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the only character they really heavily switched, which I'm going to take a second and just stop, because Stellan Skarsgård, his portrayal of the Baron, because the
And that's the
Baron
Emperor, right? The Baron.
The Baron is not the Emperor. Actually, in this movie, you don't see the Emperor. You don't
Okay.
see.
I was going to ask you that,
one
'cause I had to
one of the
assume he
scenes
was
that they
either the
don't show
Emperor
is-
or we didn't see him. One of the two. So okay.
So the Baron was that was the species that was on Dune and in control of Dune that eventually said, or the Emperor said they needed to go, and he was bringing in a new family.
I thought that's
so
the
when you-
Harkonnens. The
That's who
Baron
they
was
are.
the Harkonnens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to forgive me. I'm not going to be able to remember everyone's name.
Oh, you're good. I wrote them down specifically. It's fine. Yeah.
But the Baron in the original was like his face was all messed up. He's a fat blurbering mess. They have what they call I don't know if they call them chest plugs or heart plugs,
Mhm.
but they put it in, and then at any point in time, he just wants to fuck with people and kill them. He basically just pulls that plug out and they just gush blood.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, like it's a whole weird thing.
Hmm.
But for him, you know, I don't know if you know. Do you know who Stellan Skarsgård is?
Yeah. He's Selvig from
Yes,
Marvel.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I recognized his face, because I didn't look at any of the cast, I wanted to be surprised. I wanted to know what they were going to do.
I didn't know
wanted
who's in
to
it
know
either.
how-
Yeah, it surprised me when I saw it. Yeah.
Other than like the big faces that we've seen.
Mhm.
Totally blown away. They did it in a non-disgusting way, but they paid enough homage to the original like impact of the character, I think, because the Baron was he had two peons, you know, his nephew, who in this movie is played by Batista, and
He did a great job, by the way, for his role. Did a great job.
ooh,
I'm not
but
a
in the
cheese
original,
guy, but he did a good job. Yeah.
the other one was played by Sting, and that was Faye. I think his name was Faye. He's not in this movie.
Okay.
So the two of them were like buddy. You know, they're like the Basher brothers, and in this movie you only had Batista.
Yeah, the actors actually amazed me. Like, I thought, we're diving full spoilers in this movie, which, by the way, it's a reboot, so if you, it's not really spoilers. I thought that Skarsgård died, which blew my mind. When they killed Moa, it blew my mind. And who's the Poe Dameron? What's his name?
Oh, damn you!
Right. Anyway, when they killed Poe Dameron, I'm sad that I can remember his name from Star Wars, but I can't
Oscar
remember the
Isaac.
actor. Oscar Isaac, yeah.
Oh,
When they killed Oscar Isaac, I was like, wow. I was like, they just killed off 3 major actors in the first movie. In the first fucking movie, they killed off 3 major actors. Although, if you're going to go out the way that Isaac did, that's the way to go out. Take those motherfuckers with you. That's the way to go out.
It was a lot more impactful, I think, in this version of it because
Was it the
like I
same
said,
way?
shot for shot remake, dude.
Shot for shot remake.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. Whenever the doctor revealed that he was the guy that let down the shields and let them in and everything, I was so fucking pissed. I was like, dude, you motherfucker, and I still am, because quite honestly, bro, I get where you're at. Well, I don't get it because I've never been in that position, but I feel like if I was in that position where it's your wife and your kids, you would do anything and everything you can. But in the end, can you really sacrifice that many lives for your wife and your kids? Like the good of the many, dude. Like think about that.
They changed that, I believe, because I think in the old movie, his wife and his kid were already dead, and he was essentially trying to find a way to kill the Baron because he was responsible for his wife and kid's death.
Okay.
And so the only way that he could do it was to start the war and then to actually use
bring the Baron in to be
Leto as the bait.
That makes sense.
So
yeah,
I think it's a little bit more impactful if they're being held prisoner or whatever. Yeah. So
I want to talk about Momoa's character. It's a really big actor to have, like I said, die in the first movie. I really like the character Duncan, but I don't feel like you got enough of him. Like, you got maybe 10 minutes of screen time in a 2.5-hour movie with Jason Momoa in it. And I was like, wow, that's a really big billing for that much time, because I guarantee he made a shit ton of money off this, and now he's gone, which really surprised me. Even though he's going against impossible odds, I thought there was some way he'd beat it. Didn't do it,
Well, once again, when you know who already dies,
right,
it makes it a little difficult to watch it. But
that was another reason why I didn't want to watch the original. I wanted to have surprises.
That's why I said it's nice having this comparison. Like one of us has and one of us hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
His character still, though. I mean, for the screen time that Momoa had, I mean, I felt like his character was extremely impactful because in, I mean, when you have Lord, what was his name? Josh Brolin. When
Mhm.
you have him play his character, almost a dead shot for shot of that character. He played Patrick
He
Stewart's character in the original movie,
he was like the
and
lieutenant to the what's the guy's names? The gosh,
Toledo.
yeah,
The Duke.
the Atreides. I can't remember how to say it. House of Atreides. That's what it is.
Yes.
The Atreides. Yeah.
So he, the fight that he has right off the bat with Paul, it's the original movie. The shields that they have are gigantic cubes that go around their bodies, like rectangle prisms.
Oh
They're all
gosh.
CG, and
So
it's
way
so
better
tough
done
to
this one.
watch.
Yeah.
Way better.
Well, look, I'm not gonna lie, man. Not seeing the original and knowing it came out in 1984, I got a pretty good feeling based on the story. This was a direct rival or answer to Star Wars.
What you
Star
have
Wars is popular.
is,
Like, let's make a story very similar but slightly different to Star Wars and see if it's successful. That's what I feel.
but the story was already a book
Right. I get that.
when
Very good
someone was
point. Yeah.
writing their
You're right.
screenplay.
You're right.
So
Very, very good point.
the
Yeah.
the ideas were taken and used, because I saw when I was reading something this morning, they're like, this is how Anakin should have been, like he should have been like Paul Atreides and blah 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 blah. And everyone's like, hold your fucking phone real fast, because as far as using it on a Dateline, this comes first. This book came first. The screenplay, like, did George Lucas beat him to the screen? Absolutely. But when you
Mhm.
write a book, your end game is not always to put it on the big screen.
Mhm.
So, especially when it's so massive, like when I talk about like Foundation, I mean, that show is its own thing, but that that book introduced so many principles. I mean, we're talking about like psychohistory or whatever they call it. I mean, like the principles in that thing are amazing. It was written in the 50s,
Right.
and they're taking these ideas and actually turning them into something now. This movie right here, Dune, I mean, it's amazing what they have been able to do, even though it is a straight up remake. If all of this had come out before Star Wars, it would have been slightly revolutionary.
Mhm.
The idea of the voice is one big thing that they changed. And so
Okay.
when I was trying to explain the voice to someone, I'm like, in this movie, they treat it as almost like more of like a force style trait.
Mhm.
Like it's derivative of the person. And in the old movie, the voice was a thing, but they used almost like a microphone, and they were able to channel whatever that voice was through a weapon.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I don't want to spoil part 2 for you, so I'm not going to go super in depth. Because I think it would definitely benefit you to go into it, unless you plan on watching the original between
I'm
now
gonna
and
watch
then.
the original pretty soon. So,
Okay.
but it doesn't matter yet. Just hold
But I
off.
won't
When I
spoil it for
watch,
you.
I'll let
I'll
you
let
know.
you see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that they left a lot of action for part 2, because the stuff that's going to happen in part 2, when you watch the original, you'll be ready for it, and you'll be like, I wonder how they're going to do that, because now this has given us enough ammunition to create part 2 in our brains. And
Yes.
the downside is that it gives us that way before it comes out, because there's been no announcement and we know nothing. I don't even know if they made it. I was just under the assumption because it's cheaper. But
I
now
think
we
I
got a whole
think
lot of
Warner
time to
Bros.
talk about it.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers, based on the time, based on how they do things, they're gonna wait to see how this movie turned out in theaters and overall views, and they'll make a judgment call then. But if they don't, me personally, if they don't go with it in the future, like this is dumb. Because look, man, this was better than Hunger Games, and Hunger Games had 4 movies. This was better than I had like 3 list of movies earlier that I was talking about that have Twilight, better than Twilight, and Twilight had multiple movies. Like this is better than so many movies that I've seen, not just because of what I've seen so far, but the potential and the possibility of where they can go. Look, when I first started watching this movie and I saw the main character. I don't even know the actor's name. My kids do because he's apparently a pretty popular young actor.
Timothy Chalamet.
Something like that. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, this guy's not going to be able to carry this role. Throughout the movie and by the end of that movie, I was like, yep, this guy's got it. I can see him in this role. So they convinced me throughout from the beginning of the movie to the end of it, where I walked into it, meeting this character and saying, I don't think I'm going to get this movie, and I don't know if I'm going to get it, to the end of it where I'm like, holy fuck, what the hell happens next? And that's what you want in a movie. It really is. This honestly might be one of the best movies that I've known nothing about that I've seen in a long time. Like, I'm so excited about what happens in the future of this franchise. I want to go watch the original now, but I really, really do. But do I want to spoil myself? Like, because I really enjoyed not knowing going into this one. I really did. That was I think the best part of it. You know,
I really enjoyed actually seeing the differences, but if I were you, you got to understand, you got to avoid everything.
yeah.
And the
Done a pretty
moment
good job of that lately.
the moment that you slip up, I mean, you might as well just watch it. But if you can avoid everything, I mean, the payoff should be excellent. You know, we were more like in the group chat last night. We were talking about it. You know, Sarah wanted to see it in theaters. You're talking about seeing it in theaters, and you really wanted to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I told you. I mean, dude, I put the lights where I want them. I turned that TV. You know, paid for everything to get it exactly the way I want it. Like, got the couch sitting the perfect distance. Turn that volume up, and I'm in the theater.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm the same way. It would be really cool to see it in theaters, but I have a 55-inch 4K TV in my living room, and I can open a bottle of Screwball, which, by the way, is peanut butter whiskey. If you've
Peanut
never
butter,
tried it,
yeah.
oh my
no,
gosh,
I got it.
so effing good. And just drink that anytime I want to while I'm at home. I can pause it, which I did a few times yesterday, which is great. I'm a guy who loved going to the movies. Like, literally, like, I would, as a single guy, before I met my wife, I would go to the movies once a week because by myself. And my wife asked me, well, how do you go to movies by yourself? I'm like, well, I'm not planning on talking during the movie, so it's totally cool if I go by myself. You know, like, I have no problem going by myself. The pandemic's changed that, and now streaming and technology has changed that. You know, you made the comment last night that if HBO Max and all these movies come out, you know, where you can stream them first, you don't know if you ever go to a theater again. I'm not gonna lie, man. Although I want to say no, I want to go to a theater. I don't know if I ever will either. If I can get every movie at home, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable in my home. You know,
My
like,
shit
I
was
can do whatever the hell
crystal
I want
clear.
to. Yeah.
My speakers put out, you know, full on surround sound. I mean, like, everything that I have that I want is right there. And
Yeah.
like, why am I gonna move? I mean,
I
like,
already paid for this. Why would I
I
pay
have a
somebody else to
rule,
give it to me? Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
have a rule. If I have not watched the movie, then whoever's gonna sit down and watch that movie shuts the fuck up. I'm not answering questions. I'm not giving you a yes or no. I'm locked in. And for however long that movie is, Ross
You
doesn't
would
get
not get
bothered.
shit out of me. That's right. No, I wish I could be like that. No, it's not like that for me. But that's why usually first viewing of something that I need to watch without being interrupted, I watch it by myself. And then,
Yeah.
okay, family, let's watch this together because I've already seen it and I can explain things to you. But no, I feel you, man. Like, and then that's kind of what the theater gave you. And look, the theater in the past was an experience to go to where you got to have a bigger screen with better quality and better sound that you wouldn't normally have at your house. I literally now have better sound and video at my house than I could have in a movie theater sitting on my couch based on the size and then everything else. Why am I going to go pay for this when I'm already paying $7.99 a month or however much HBO Max is? I don't even know. It comes out automatically. Why would I pay to go see it when I have it right here? It's just like my anniversary is this Sunday. You know, my wife asked me something that would be great for my anniversary, and I was like, you know what? I would really love the Zack Snyder Justice League Steelbook collectible edition. Like, I would love to have it. But it's like $60, man. I have a really hard time either telling my wife to buy something for me for $60 or paying $60 for something that I already pay $7.99 a month for, and I can watch for free anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Like the adult in me is coming out where it's like that, and I gotta kind of agree with you, Ross. I don't know if I'll ever go back to a theater again if I can watch everything from my home. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Even
know?
even though they're not going to do it anymore, even with the Premier Access that Disney Plus was doing, it would have been worth it versus going to the movie theater,
Right.
with the house full, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what HBO does is give you those 30 days to watch it brand new. So you got the 30 days to watch it over and over and over again if your heart desires. And then it disappears for a while and then comes back.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing wrong with that. The downside is that it's probably not going to happen past this year.
Right.
Luckily,
they did it for
we
1 year, they said, and then
Luckily, we get to end the year with The Matrix.
Yes.
But
yes.
Still, you know, I mean,
it's a good way to end the year. I'm not gonna lie.
When I texted you guys and was like, you know, it's coming out like 6 on Thursday because, you know, I was expecting Friday. And so I was like, oh no, like I logged in, like I saw what it said. I'm like, it's 6 tonight. And so like I saw that like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And everyone was already like planning their day. Like come home, do this, and sit down, like watch it. Blah blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. And, like that should be how we consume media. If I am giving you all that money, how much HBO, if you're not on whatever their new plan they just came out with, HBO was like $16 a month. That's on the short side, 2 movie tickets every month.
Mm-hmm.
2 movie tickets. If you go, that's 24 tickets. Out of every household, if that's like what you're actually going to go do, you make better on that. Like that's subscription-based platform.
Right.
You can't justify everything that's on there if you have a bunch of old content and stuff like that. But I mean, if you're talking about new content, dude, I mean, going to see Dune, what, you know, once again, you're talking $50 to $100 depending on like who you're going with and like how much stuff you're buying when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, $15 and everyone can watch it and like no one's complaining, and then you get to watch it for 30 days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, after 30 days, in 2 months, it's going to be back anyway, and you can watch it forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look, man, I'm a huge advocate of buying comics. Like, you know, see behind me, I would rather buy individual single comics of any storyline, any series, even though trade paperbacks are fine. But digital is not my way to go. Like, I just don't. It's something about the feel of the comics, the smell, holding it, actually owning the comic that I love. But with movies, I'm starting to go in a different direction because I probably have 200 DVDs out there.
That's the problem right there.
And I probably have not touched one DVD in 10 years. And that's not even bullshitting. Probably 10 years.
You've
I
jumped
but
2
but
degrees
you know what?
immediately.
I get on a streaming service every night, or I get on my movies anywhere app or whatever, and I watch something that I own digitally or that I pay for digitally every single day. You know? And it's just getting to the point, man, where I like you said, I just don't know if the movie theater experience is worth the wait and the money and everything else when I'm already paying for it. You know,
I think we're going to end up being forced back into it because they're
You think
going to
so?
take away the streaming option, like because they want people to go to theaters. But I also think that the future is different. It's clearly like it's going to have to be because we evolve. But either it's like it sucks because the Premier Access thing would have been a good model. I think the price point was, you know, easily $10 too high. So instead of $30, it should have been like 20 because, you know, people for some reason stomach that number better, or 15. You know, like anything less than 30.
$19.99. That's
Sure.
$40. Yeah.
Plus tax.
Yeah.
But it would have been a much better plan, and even then, it was still on a temporary basis because they were going to take I believe it was 30 days. So you basically got the same HBO thing, even though you paid additional to it. And I think that's going to be closer to the plan that you're going to see in the future. I think HBO and their whole entire subsidiaries all took a real big, like, it seemed like a very bro thing to do, you know, to be like, hey, we're just going to give it to you all year long. Don't sweat it. It's on us. COVID sucks. We got your back. But then, you know, AT&T's hot in the water all over. It's like all over the stuff they did with Facebook and everything else. And so, you know, like they got a whole bunch of negativity coming their way, even though like they made this move to do something, you know, real cool for like your fellow man. I don't think we're going to get it next year, which is sad, but I think they're going to try to force us back to theaters. The problem, like you were mentioning with like hard media, is like, you know, it's advancing so fast. I mean, like, you know, pretty soon we're going to be into everyone's going to be in the 8K realm, not just the rich people. And then you're 3 steps away from DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know if you know this, but like if you purchase a movie through Apple, it continues to progress with each media. So like if you buy it, like if you buy like an SD, no, I think it's an HD or better movie. If you bought a movie on HD, it automatically goes to 4K if you have a 4K capable device.
Oh, okay.
It automatically goes up every single time that you're watching it. And so,
well, that's like with my DVD collection I have in there. Like I've gone through, if you go to Movies Anywhere, or not Movies Anywhere, Vudu, you can convert your
they're the same
hard copy DVD. They may be, you can convert your hard copy DVDs to digital for like $2 or $3. I think it's $3 HD, $2 standard definition. I'm going through all my DVDs and doing that because it's just so much easier to hit the play button on an app than it is to get the DVD, put it in the DVD player, start it up, change the input, hit play, go through all that stuff. It's like, it's cool, but I'm past that now, man. Like, you know, we grew up watching Back to the Future, where the guy walks in front of the TV and he names 10 channels to play, and they play 10 channels, and we're like, oh, it's so fucking cool. We're in that age now. Like that's where we live now. That movie was set in this time period, and minus a few things they put in that movie, that's where we're at. You know, I don't know. Coming from a person who has ambitions within a year to open up a movie theater, it's hard for me to say don't go to the movies. However, I'm opening a drive-in theater, which is going to be different than a regular movie theater, so it's a little different experience. The Watchtower in Winston-Salem, come check it out next year. It's going to be open. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, it's. I think that going to the movies, they've got to create a new experience for people, for that industry to thrive. Because, like I said, I'm planning to open up a drive-in theater. That's a totally different experience than going to the movie theater. You know, there's going to be all kinds of stuff there. Like, I'm not spoiling it now. I'll let you know when it comes to more to fruition, but that becomes more true. But it's difficult thinking about doing something like that in a time where people are less apt to go out and see movies, less apt to go do the kind of stuff, you know. And I see the writing on the wall. It's the movie theater experience. They've tried changing things. There's some theaters around here that serve dinner. There's some that serve beer now. But I'm not going to pay $11.50 for a beer when I can pay $11.50 for a 12 or for a 12 pack and sit at my house and drink it. You know, and
I'll learn about driving home afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes no sense. It's a way smarter and safer decision just to watch the movie at home. You know,
and you know what? Part of it makes me feel like I'm just being like I'm not a people person, but am I just being like an old asshole? And like, am I reaching that point in my life where I'm like, I don't need to go out for anything?
No, because I think that even kids these days would rather be able to hit the Roku button on their Roku TV or whatever button they hit to go to whatever they want to watch and do that, rather than have to rely on their parents to get them to the movie theater, to pay for the movies, to do whatever they want to do. You know, like.
Well, and you can share it with your friends when you watch it. Like these apps are all gaining that ability to to mass watch in groups. And so, I mean, like,
And that's going to be the problem right there. Because look, with the same problem that video gaming ran into, you know, like they did studies on PlayStation where they would have 50 million people who have reviewed this new Call of Duty game, and they've sold 20 million copies. And it's like, well, it's because people share. It's because people go to GameStop and buy a used copy, and that doesn't go towards the credit of, you know, EA Games or whoever it is that made that game. They don't get the cut from that. So they're looking at these numbers and like, well, shit. People would rather just be able to get it digitally at home than have to go out and pay for it. Because if you give people the option to get it digitally at home, that's their only option, then you can't share it with your friends. I mean,
what I'm talking about is different.
you talking about sharing apps, like sharing like Apple TV and
No, what I'm talking about is like if What If was on, Disney has the ability for like if you, me, and Sarah want to watch What If, we can
we can
all
watch
join
together.
the party and watch
Okay.
it together.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you can do that with your, you know, they advertise it for your family. Like you can watch Moana with your grandmother, you know, but I mean, really it comes down to essentially, I mean, like it's, I mean, people like us are kind of the ones that are like, hey, you know, like we're all going to sit down and watch it. And, you know, we can talk about it or do whatever about it.
Look,
But it gives you that opportunity.
There's two ways to do streaming now, man. There's the one way where I buy Hulu and Disney Plus and Netflix, and then you buy Apple TV and Peacock and whatever, just whatever the fuck you want to, and we share them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's the way of, God damn it, I forgot the other way. There's the way of, damn it. Anyway, there's two ways, but I forgot the second way. Sorry.
I do all mine through bill consolidation at this point. So, I mean, literally I get certain discounts and I weigh all the discounts versus like what I'm going to be paying for something else. Like when I switched to internet, it brought in HBO TV. Even once I get off of the, you know, 2-year promotional period, I'm still cheaper paying for this that includes HBO than I was my slower internet with a you know, smaller cap and paying for HBO. So by the time I sit here and play Tetris with all the bills and the services, like I come out and like, you know, like I got 5 services steamrolled into plans. And I mean, like every one of them makes what I have cheaper. And even like I've played like the 5 to 10 year game, like how long is it going to take to catch up? And like it doesn't catch up in 10 years unless they do like a dramatic price increase. So it has really taken the having way too much going on, you know, like when you're just paying out money out every single month and like, you know, how auto pay is, you set it and forget it and you don't think about it for a while until the next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I really wanted to buy something that was very expensive, but I had all this stuff come out at one time. But no, like that's really paid off.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I remember the second way now. The second way is the month to month, which is what I have a friend at work that does. He buys one streaming service a month. He watches everything on it that he can for that month, and then he discontinues the service and he goes to another one, which is a smart way to do it too. If you can,
I can't do that.
If you can limit yourself to one streaming service per month, yeah. Now, granted, I was talking to people today at work, some older guys at work that are, you know, close to retirement, and I feel like they're of a different generation, so they look at things differently. And I was talking to them about streaming services and what they buy and what they pay for. And like one of these guys was just like, you know, I don't pay for any streaming service other than Netflix. He was like, I have Netflix, I have DirecTV, and then I pay for internet. And I was like, well, out of all that, like how much do you pay? And he was like, oh, well, altogether it ends up being about $210 a month. I was like, okay, cool. So for the fastest, dude, Spectrum and DirecTV are insanely expensive. So I was like, okay, cool.
Like $210 by itself.
Well, I don't know what he has, but he told me. So he told me that, and I was like, okay, cool. I was like, so I pay for Spectrum service, internet. Okay. I pay for Spectrum TV, which is not the cable boxes, but the streaming service. So I still get live TV so I can watch live games. Like, because I want to watch basketball, baseball, football games. I want to watch those. Okay. That's the only reason I pay for those. then I have every streaming app you can have minus Apple TV. I have Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Discovery, Peacock, everything you can possibly think of. I have it. And I'm still only paying like $175 a month for all of that. So I can add Apple TV in and still pay less than this guy's paying for DirecTV and internet and Netflix. You know,
You're watching the current stuff, to be honest, because everything's streaming.
The issue with having a podcast is that I have to be able to watch a lot of things. So whether even if I only watch one show off this service, if I want to watch that show, I have to pay for the service, And luckily, because my wife watches soap operas, that's 4 different networks. That's 4 different services. So those 4 services are covered. Like I'm paying for these for you. But because of that, I get to watch this and this and this and this. Now, that was my justification for buying them. I was like, well, if I get this so I can watch this, then guess what? You can watch Young and the Restless. How about that? So it works out pretty well. But the good thing about paying for Spectrum Internet TV is you get like Paramount, Discovery, like all these channels that are like network channels. You can usually get those for free because you pay for Spectrum. Because they cover NBC and
Paramount
Fox and everything.
Plus for free?
No, Paramount Plus I pay for. Peacock, Discovery Plus, all that stuff I get for free. ESPN, like I get all that for free because I get it through Spectrum. Because they already broadcast that stuff and I already pay for that. So I can just go on the app and pay for it. Get the same thing. So, I mean, it works out okay. But like I said, there's so many different ways you can go about doing things now with the internet. It's what you are comfortable, 1, paying with, and 2, what you want to see. We live in a world we're almost to that point. I wrote into the Fanboy Garage a few years ago about like the ideal TV set. And I said, why can't there be a service where you pay, say, Spectrum, where I'm at, and you say, okay, I want to have Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, TNT, I'm TBS. I want to pay for these channels and nothing else. And as they described it, that's the holy grail of television. One day we may get there. That's the holy grail of television. But we're not there yet. Right now, if you want this show, you've got to pay for this network, not just this show.
That's corporation at work is exactly what it is, because you can get any cloud service, AWS, Google platform, Microsoft Azure. You can get any of that stuff on a pay as you go basis, month to month, based on whatever it is that you want to use the cloud for.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do it. Not for TV.
Yeah, not for TV. Not yet, but it's getting there. Eventually, the people will rise. They will say, we will not pay for these services we do not require. And we're moving towards that direction. That's all I got to say. It's coming forward. That I think that TV is going to be selectable in the future. It's going to be an issue in the future where you can pick and choose what you want to watch. And we're almost there. We've got to get past all these contracts, all these old contracts from all these companies. And then I think we're going to be there. But somebody's going to get through there one day.
We're going to be in the VR world, man.
Elon Musk. I have faith in him. He'll do it one day. He'll have a streaming service where you can pick whatever the fucking show you want to and pay for that show. Elon Musk. I have faith in him.
As long as it's on his TV.
That's right. So you watch through his service. So, was there anything else about Dune you wanted to point out? I mean, we didn't go too spoilerish. There was the Chris knife, which I thought was one thing I marked down was really cool. I like the orthocopters, or orthonocopters. They called them thopters in this one.
Ornithopters, I think.
Ornithopters, yeah. Really like that one. Paul didn't like the character at the beginning. Changed my mind towards the end. I love a movie that can do that.
It's because he was a skinny kid, but you put him in that black suit. It's almost like being in like a hero suit.
And it's a badass suit.
And it's not different from, concept and purpose. Like it's no different than what they used in the 80 version. Mm-hmm. That's just no different than what's in the book.
And we know by the end of this movie that Rabin and the Emperor, what's the Emperor's name? Or not the Emperor, what's Skarsgård's name? God, I can't remember. Rabin is the one that Batista plays. And then they both think that Baron. They both think
Baron
that
Vladimir Harkonnen.
yeah, they both think they're all dead. So I can't pronounce the name of the one. I guess the chosen one, the selected one, the one that the main character plays in this one. I can't pronounce the name of that because I haven't seen it enough times, but I will be able to eventually. But
Not going to
it's
spoil that
interesting.
moment for you.
Oh, I guess he's not. But either way, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So very, very interesting movie. I recommend this to anybody. It is really, really good. Like I said, I put it over Twilight. I put it over Hunger Games, which, by the way, I don't like Twilight. So I liked Hunger Games. So saying it's better than Hunger Games is a big deal for me. Saying it's better than Twilight is not a big deal for me because, those moves are what they are. So
They're examples. They're not a bar.
we'll see if Pattinson can change my mind about him after this Batman series, which I think he can. So we'll see. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. I really, really enjoyed the series. Really, really enjoyed the storyline they're going with and where it can go in the future because the possibilities are endless. And then there's the spoiler kind of not spoiler, but the reveal at the end of Dune power, which they've been saying the whole movie. You know, Oscar Isaac had that whole thought his whole time was Dune power to make peace.
Desert power.
Desert power, yes, was to make peace with these people rather than the Acaris was the name of it. The people of Acaris rather than enslave them, I guess. And it's a cool concept, and it looks like it's going to work. We're going to see what happens. I love the blue eyes. We haven't mentioned the thing about Mary Jane Watson being in there. Yeah.
Zendaya definitely. So what had me during the trailers was that they didn't show a lot of her. And now I know why, because it's
or in the
only
movie
one.
they didn't show a lot of her. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But no, it's we should get a lot more of her.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I really, really like the direction this movie is going. I can't wait for part 2. Warner Brothers, fucking give me part 2. Seriously. I swear, if there is never another part of this movie, I'm going to be so fucking pissed off until the point that they make another movie that I want to see, and then I'm going to watch it. So, damn it. Warner Brothers, your power. Ugh, I hate it. But, all right, well, that's about it, man. Was there anything else about Dune you wanted to mention? Yeah,
I got nothing about Dune. You got
we mentioned a few parts of it without spoilers, so not huge spoilers.
Talk about some stuff that's coming up next week.
Yeah.
You get some Star Trek Prodigy.
You know
Is
something,
that next
man?
week? That is next week.
You and Sarah have been talking about Star Trek Prodigy, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw the preview for it the other day.
You're the one that was talking about wanting to get in on it. I bring it up because you talked about it.
Just because it's Star Trek Prodigy, and I know Sarah loves Star Trek, and I wanted to get into some Star Trek. It doesn't look like my kind of show.
That's why I was wondering why. I mean,
it looks like what's that Star Trek show not Star Trek, Star Wars show that nobody likes? Rebels? Not Rebels.
No.
Not Rebels.
People like Rebels.
Yeah, you like Rebels. What's the new one?
You're talking about the one
likes the Disney
Kaz.
one. Yeah, it looks like
they're
that.
all Disney.
Well, yeah, technically now, yeah, I guess it looks like that, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna give it a chance.
This is gonna be more like Rebels. Everyone has compared this to Rebels, but I don't know. I mean, like it's a kid entry into Star Trek is what it is,
which I understand.
But it does have serious tie-ins. The problem is that you don't have serious your feet aren't firmly implanted into the Star Trek universe, so that is going to kind of mess you up just a hair.
I got a pretty good feeling I'm going to like Prodigy or not Prodigy. God, what's the name of the other one? Prodigy's the name of that one. Discovery. Way more after one episode. Like, loved that one episode of Discovery.
I watched the first season so fast because I think I was able to get the whole thing right off the bat. Watched it, loved it. Second season came out. It didn't fall on its face at all. It just told a variant of another story. And it did it in an okay way. But season 3, like, Dude, I've been just silently watching and paying attention the whole entire time to every episode that I've seen so far. When it comes out on the 18th, I look forward to that. That's why I'm trying to slowly milk through season 3. That way I just kind of slowly slide right into season 4.
Yeah, I've got to speed through season 1, 2, and 3 to catch up. So I'm gonna try my best. We'll see what happens. But well, cool, man. Well, anything else you want to bring up?
No.
So we're
running long enough tonight.
Yeah, we're 3 hours and 15 minutes into the show. It's after midnight, but that's how we roll. So, well, cool deal, man. Well, Ross, man, thank you so much for being on, buddy. Where, if anybody wants to find you, can they find you?
Find
Did
me
they
here
contact
until
me?
apparently after midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Contact Greg. Whatever you
Contact
don't
me.
like about me, you can tell him.
I'll give you his number. Just contact me. I'll give you his phone number. So we'll be good.
My number is 1.
And his address. Yeah. So no, I really do appreciate it, man. It's been a great time. Got to cover a lot of really fun stuff this week. Next week, our shows are starting to dwindle a little bit, but we have some really good stuff coming out soon. So we're going to be able to replace that with some good stuff coming up. Covering the Matrix within the next month to be prepared for the Matrix 4 movie coming out pretty soon, which is going to be nice. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else because it's late and I've been drinking a lot of Pinot Noir. So, but you want to go and get out of here?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it, man. All right, brother. Ross, thank you so much once again. Folks, thank you very much for listening. Anybody who's still listening, give us a like, give us a review, share with a friend, everything you can. And until next week, keep pounding.
Later.
And, not leave.